Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom. I'm your host, Carlito Castro. Thanks for being here. Steve, I see you're here, buddy. Thank you, man. You're the first one here. Thank you. I invited a bunch of people, but they should be in here within a couple of minutes. So yeah, guys, thank you for coming back. Um, I also, I've said it a couple of times on my last few shows that turn my volume down on my phone because then I get feedback. Um, yeah, that I've been really busy with work the last past 2 months, so that's why I haven't really made any many shows lately. I think I've done maybe two within the past 2 months. You know what I mean? So that's not a lot, right? And hey, brother Abe, good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining. Um, HC is in the house, everybody. So yeah, so going back to what I was saying, that yeah, so that's the reason why I haven't done that many. But now I'm actually done with that big project job that I had because I'm a contractor for remodeling. So I'm done now, and now I can have more time to have. Actually, I've actually been talking to a couple of potential hosts, not hosts, guests, potential guests, and the guy that I have on now. He seems like a great guy. He seems legit. I spoke to him a couple times through Messenger, and he's told me everything about what he's experienced, and it's very interesting. All the encounters he had. So I'm fixing to bring him on, you guys, and thank you guys for being patient. I know, like I said, I know I haven't been doing that many shows lately, but like I said, it was because I was so jam packed with work these past 2 months. So yeah, so now I'm gonna really start getting back in there. I'll start having more shows, at least two a month, at least. Try to see if I can have more, but at least yeah, because I know consistency is a big part of thriving in this podcasting community. So yeah, so okay, guys, enough about me, and thank you everybody for joining tonight. Jimmy Blanton, how you doing, buddy? I see you. I see you joining in there. Thank you for coming, man. So I'm gonna bring my guest tonight. Okay, I'm gonna bring him on now. Hey, how you doing, Claude?
Hi, good evening, Carlos. How are
Good
you?
evening. Good, brother. Good, man. Taking a good day off, man. A good deserved day off Sunday, being Sunday. Sometimes I do work Sundays, but
Yeah.
not anymore. I try to stay home and relax. Run a couple errands, go to the store, whatever. But just chill at the house.
Well, I understand you being busy these past couple months, and you got to
Yeah,
pay the bills.
yeah,
Got to pay the bills.
yeah. That's right.
Well, thanks for
Yeah,
having me on tonight.
yeah, brother. Glad to have you, man. And like I was telling the people here, man, I think you're an outstanding guy. Legit guy, and
Thank you.
everything that we've talked about, so far, everything you told me in the pre-interviews and stuff. That I think you're, and especially you being ex law enforcement.
Yes.
That's a big part of it too.
Yes.
I actually like to interview people that are ex law enforcement because they, of course, they have the big credibility being ex law enforcement, but I know that they have seen things that when they're on duty they don't talk about, right?
That's
So
true. That's
yeah,
very true.
so once they retire, then is when they can talk about all the things that you know
We're not
like for
worried about
example
being
me.
ridiculed,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
worried about being laughed out of the department,
yep,
even.
yep, yep. Just like you are now. Today with us. You're gracing us with your presence and your encounters. Thank you for that,
Thank
Claude.
you.
And well, I'm gonna ask you, Claude, to start off the show to give us a brief bio on yourself, bro. Can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, well, I can do that.
Okay,
My
thank
name's
you.
Claude Anderson, and I'm now residing here in the White Mountains of Arizona in the northeast corner, which that's Show Low, Arizona, in Navajo County. I'm originally from Indiana, and that's where I was in law enforcement for 17 and a half years. I've been retired now for 20. Now, my first encounter was back then in 1994, 29 years ago.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dwayne. I'm sorry. Can you tell us? Can you tell
Yeah.
us about your your marital status?
Oh,
Lisa,
okay.
your wife, right? You said you're
Yeah.
married with Lisa, right?
Well, I am currently in a relationship with Lisa Drain. We've been together now for 10 years. We're not married,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean that we don't love each other and have a great life together. And she has shared a couple of experiences with me up here, but my background basically, I love to hunt, I love to fish, and I love to camp. So I play in their backyard a lot. And that's the reason why up here I have a few encounters with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
because I remember you said Lisa might come on with you, but you just told me that she can't come on tonight, right?
well, she's not going to be able to make it tonight. Sorry about that.
Right.
She's busy right now and with some other things she's having to take care of. So unfortunately, she won't be able to. But I can tell you about what happened with her and when we talk about it.
Right.
But
Right.
to
When we get to
further,
that.
my background in law enforcement was in a small town in the USA back in Garrett, Indiana.
Okay.
And also, after I retired there, I was a security specialist. And now I'm just fully retired and
Right.
enjoying life up here on the mountain. It's beautiful up here where we live.
Right. Wow. That's nice. Yeah. I'd love to visit that in Arizona and
Yeah.
Indiana. I have a sister that actually lives in Indiana, man. She lives in Kingston or Kingstown. I don't know how you say that. Indiana, which is like southwest or southeast. I can't remember which way of Indianapolis, which is I guess the capital city there, right?
Yeah. I lived up in the northeast corner in DeKalb County,
Okay.
and that's just a small town. Garrett is an old railroad town, and is great people there. And I worked with a bunch of great guys. But once I retired there and I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada for a while. I lived there and worked in hotel security with one of the biggest there, the Venetian and Palazzo Hotel, Casino, and Resort. And then Lisa and I met, lived in San Diego for a while. But between living in Indiana and Las Vegas, I didn't have any encounters. But once we moved up here onto the mountain, we moved up here to help with her mom and dad. That's when things really started getting interesting with the Sabe, and I don't call them Bigfoot so much anymore. They are a forest people. They are a living, breeding, and family being. They are there. They are real. And if you listen to the elders up here on the mountain, they will tell you the forest people are many here. And the reason for that is you have the Apache Nations Reserve and you have the Navajo Nations Reserves. And this is thousands and thousands of acres in the world's largest ponderosa pine forest. So no white man is really allowed on these Navajo nations or the Apache nations unless you are guided by one of theirs. So they tell about seeing them all the time, but they won't talk about them. They just tell you that they are many here on the mountain. And I believe it. If you were to take and look at a map of sightings across the United States, and they show all of the symbols of where this Bigfoot are seen and everything. If you look up in the northeast corner of Arizona, that is covered with symbols of Sasquatch. And I live right smack dab in the middle of it. So, and being in the biggest ponderosa forest, they have plenty of area to hide in. The food source, water, game is tremendous here. And it's just beautiful all the way around. Like I said, I play in their backyard a lot, hunting, mainly prairie dogs and coyotes. Now is what I do a lot of up here,
And
and they are all
that's
over
in
the place.
Arizona, right? That's where you are now,
Arizona,
right?
yeah,
Arizona, yeah. What town in Arizona do you live in, if you don't mind me asking?
Navajo,
Navajo.
Navajo
Wow.
County.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome. I
it's a
love the
pretty
name.
good sized county,
Hmm.
and it is up in the northeast corner. Uh, we're bordered by New Mexico and Utah. And of course, there's Roswell, New Mexico. where, that's pretty big. And you also have the Skinwalker Ranch, which we're not too far from either one of those sites. So
Wow.
we do get a lot of probably, I don't know, activity from both places, all three corners. And this is a pretty
Wow.
active area.
So it's a big forested area where y'all live in?
It is the biggest ponderosa forest in the world. And
Wow.
it's thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. It's deep valleys, hills, mountains.
Oh man.
It's just beautiful up here.
That's perfect habitat for Sasquatch right there, man.
Exactly. You have elk, you have deer, you have what else? There's all sorts of lakes with a lot of trouts, all sorts of game up here that they have, and also the habitat. There's cave systems in the Navajo nations. I've seen a few of them, but so habitat up here for them is just it's tremendous, and they have everything they need to flourish here, and they are here. I can tell you
Wow.
that.
Yeah. Wow, I bet, man.
Yeah.
Now, let me start with this, Claude. Let me start with this. I'm very, very interested. When you were in the forest, did you hear anything, see anything, or maybe people, I don't know, hikers or hunters or whatever back in those days? Did you hear any stories from them, or actually, seen something yourself?
When I was on the force,
Yes.
no. Uh,
Really?
Indiana, you wouldn't even believe that there would be a Bigfoot in Indiana. That you
Right.
everybody, you would think, and this my 1994 encounter. About the only thing you were hearing back then, Carlito, was the Patterson film. Okay,
Right.
Yetis in the Himalayas.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
I would have
Yeah.
never have thought that there was a Bigfoot there when I encountered it in 1994, but nobody talked about it. And I didn't talk about that until probably 2000, I think it was 18 or 19 when I went on Bigfoot Believers here on Facebook page. But nobody talked about it. Now, I do have another brother. His name is Kyle Krager,
Hmm.
and he had an encounter with one, and within about 3/4 of a mile, maybe even less, of the area where I did. Same area, same county, and so he would have never have thought it either. But now he is connected just as much as what I am, and he can't go camping or fishing or being out in the woods hiking and what they let him know too that hey, we know you're here. We're just letting you know.
Right.
So
Wow. Okay. Well, the reason why I was asking about that, if you had seen anything in Indiana, is because, like I told you before, I have a sister that lives in Indiana, in
yeah.
Kingston or something like that, which is southwest or southeast. Like I said, I don't know, but I kind of looked it up because I ran into an encounter that happened in Indiana. Now I can't remember if it was a Bigfoot, like I said, like I told you, if it was a Bigfoot or a dogman, but I heard it was an encounter there. And it was in a foresty area, southwest or southeast. That's why I was asking you, is there a forest there? You said yes. What's the name of the forest there?
Hoosier National Forest is the biggest
Hoosier.
forest in Indiana. Now,
Okay.
that is also in what is called the Indiana Bigfoot Triangle. And the wider portion of it is in the Hoosier National Forest. And it's huge. It's very hilly. It's Brown County,
Hmm.
Indiana. And it's probably, you got Bloomington, Indiana there. A couple other towns I can't remember right offhand. I haven't lived in Indiana since 2006, but yeah,
Right.
and I have a dear friend, and he's also in law enforcement, and he lives right in the middle of this, and then he's had some encounters on his
Wow.
property that are pretty strange,
Really?
and and I sent you the pictures of the trees that are by
Yeah.
his tree stand, and he
Right.
said he told me Claude, he said, "What the hell's tearing up my trees?" And I said, "I have
Oh,
no idea,"
wow.
but
Okay. Well, we'll get into that when we show the
yeah,
pictures, and you can
yeah.
tell the story about that. So how did you get into the Sasquatch or Bigfoot
Well,
phenomena? How did you get into that?
okay, I was in law enforcement back in 1994. Again, this is Thanksgiving morning,
Hmm.
29 years ago. This past Thanksgiving, and it was slug season for deer hunting. So, being a vivid deer hunter back then, I had hunted this woods now for probably about 4.5 years. And Thanksgiving morning is my first day off as a police officer and holiday, and my first day as my first 2 days off.
Okay.
So I had made,
And
arrangements with
and this
my
was
wife
in Indiana, right?
in Indiana,
Okay.
DeKalb County.
Okay.
So it's 4:30 morning. I'm getting around. I'm getting ready. I jump in my truck, and where I hunt, it's only about 3 miles outside of the town where I, was a cop in. I park my truck, and it's 5:30 in the morning. It's pitch black. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this area that I hunted, Carlito, I had been there, like I said, for about 4.5 years. I hunted deer, I hunted coyote, squirrel, rabbit, crows, you name it, we hunted it. So I knew the area very well. The woods I was hunting was probably only about 3 acres, but butted up to a very large woods that was owned by a lumber company. Now, going back this lane, I'm watching the wind currents and seeing directions they were coming from as far as the leaves rustling and stuff like that. And it's coming out of the southwest. So I decided to hunt the west side of this woods. So I'm walking back to the lane and I enter the field that is on the east side of the woods. Now, this woods had been covered in each direction of it, north, south, east, and west, by corn that year that the farmer had planted. So as I'm walking along the edge of the west side, all of a sudden I get probably maybe, I'm going to say 12 to 15 yards from the large woods that butted up against mine. And all of a sudden I started smelling this real terrible odor. It just, I thought it was a dead deer maybe that got hit by a train, which is not too far from there, or even a dead body. It smelled like feces, um, urine. It was really rancid. And my nose started running. My eyes were watering. I was gagging. And it stopped me in my tracks. And I
Right.
thought, what the hell is this? And as I was standing there, all of a sudden I heard this low growl. And it was coming from the south edge of this woods to the north of me. It was just a low growl, maybe 20, 30 seconds long. And I thought, well, hell, I wonder what that is. I couldn't see anything. It's pitch black. I didn't have a flashlight. And it growled again. And I thought, oh, I thought it was a bear maybe, or, because bears come down from Michigan and we were only 40 miles south of there. So I hollered, get the hell out of here, bear. And that's when it let out a roar. And this roar vibrated in my chest. And I was just froze. So I got my shotgun with me and I pumped around into it and I hollered again, get the hell out of here, bear. And that's when it growled again and started shaking trees. There was 2 trees that were probably about 10 foot apart and I could see them in the skylight and I could hear them rustling. And it was roaring and shaking these trees. And then at the end of that roar, it sounded like Scooby-Doo gibberish. And then a wah. And that's when I come to my senses about halfway, and I cracked off around into the left and into the ground. I hollered, get the hell out of here. And I pointed my shotgun right directly in the area in which I thought whatever it was standing. Because at that time, I really didn't know. So I heard a tree snap. And then all of a sudden, it's just like thump, thump, thump. And you could feel it and you could hear it. And it was walking off to the north. And then I didn't hear anything. So I slowly backed out of that field, never taking my eyes off of it, the woods, and got onto the lane and started back to my truck. Well, when you walk down this lane, there's a wooded side on the north side of it that's about 15 foot wide and runs all the way down to my truck. On the south side is a field, but it's off the ground. So I get back to my truck. I open my truck and I sat in my truck after pulling my my duty weapon, my Glock 45, and setting it on my lap, going, "What the hell just happened here?" Because I was confused, Carlito. No idea what was going on. What did I hear? What did I smell? I didn't
Right.
see anything. And I
Right.
thought, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long I sat there, maybe 40, 45 minutes, and it
I
got
know
day.
that. I know that smell quite good. I know that smell,
Oh,
and I
it's
remember
rancid.
it.
It's
Yeah.
rancid, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very, very rancid.
So I walk back and I get to the edge of the field. I got my binoculars and I'm looking at the edge of this field, making sure there isn't nothing standing there. So I walk towards it. And as I get to the edge of it, a shotgun goes off. So I know there's somebody in the big woods and they're hunting. And I walked in, and the first thing I saw was this tree about 6 inches in diameter, snapped off, 6 foot. Now I'm 6'1", and I'm looking right at it. It's fresh snap. It's an aspen, and it's pointing due east. And you could tell around the area that something had been tromping it down. So then I started tracking it to the north, and I found that what probably was a deer scrape that was moist and wet. And there was the first print, and it was huge. It was probably, I was wearing a size 11 boot then, and it was probably a good 5, 6 inches longer than my boot and twice as wide. So I knew right then and there, I thought, holy crap, I think I might
Wow.
have spooked off a Bigfoot.
Talk about making you a believer, huh?
Oh, it did.
Wow.
So I found the second print about maybe 10 yards from it, and I was getting further into this woods. I just decided, I backed out. I went to my truck. I went home. I got around, got ready, getting ready to go up to Thanksgiving breakfast and dinner and with my in-laws back then. And I'm quiet. And my wife says, "You're being awful quiet." I said, "I know, I know." She said, "You come home awful early." I said, "Yeah, I know." She said, "Didn't you see anything?" I said, "Too many hunters." What was I going to tell her? "Oh, I think I spooked a Bigfoot." No. Carlito, I didn't even tell anybody, like I said, about this tale until 2018 on Facebook, Bigfoot Believers. And then I had Todd and Brian from Cryptid Creatures. They wanted me to do a podcast. I did one with them, if
Right.
you know of them.
Yeah, I do.
And then also with Sheldon Quinez of British Columbia. With he has big Nicola Valley Bigfoot, and he's a very good podcaster, just like you. So now that's what got me started. But again, we're
Thank you, bro.
94. We're
Hmm.
94. There's
That was 94.
not much.
Right.
What I did find, I more or less probably National Geographic, some shows like that. But the internet,
But you found a print, didn't you? That's the one we're gonna show. Is that the same print that you
yeah,
found on that very first experience?
yeah,
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Continue.
So and so that's what got me started and interested. But then, like I said, nothing happened after that, and I retired from law enforcement and I moved to Las Vegas. Started my security there. Hunted out in the deserts of Las Vegas, all around there in the fall, and nothing, nothing then. Moved to California with Lisa, and we were there for 6 years together before we moved up here. Nothing there. But then when we moved here on the mountain and we bought the Polaris General, and we started riding around on the back trails. That's when things started here. And the pictures that you're showing with the TP structure, that is the first thing that I found and the first indication that, yeah, the Bigfoot are here. So in that picture, when you put them up, you can see there is a tree that is bent from the right side to the left, and it has green on top of it. It's got a lot of green on it. Now, that tree is probably 7 to 8 inches around, and everything else is woven into it. So now what human being is going to stand there, hold this tree bent over like that, and be able to further weave a structure into it? So that was the first indication for us. We decided to go off trail. We had both had to get out and stretch our legs, and the dog needed to potty. So that's when we found it. But it was very interesting because probably 20, 25 yards from it and the opening and the entrance, there was a mud wallow. Now, up here, the deer, the elk, and a lot of the other animals, they use these mud wallows to keep the tick, the flies, and other insects off of them. So, knowing that this mud wallow was there, I'm thinking that it was probably a hunting hut for it. It could hide in there, and elk goes down in the bottom of this wallow, or a deer, or whatever else, and it springs a trap, and it's got supper for that evening. And that was my opinion of it. So we watched it for a couple years, and now there's one picture I show of it. It's dilapidated. That's the first one we took of it, and you can see the entrance right there, and that's burnt stump. Now the tree I'm talking about goes from the right to the left, and it has a lot of green foliage on top. Well, that tree is bent over, and then everything else you see is weaved into it. And it's probably the inside of it is, I don't know, 7, 8 foot in diameter. And you could tell that, it was basically, well, something had been setting in there. It had been used. Now, if you put the footprint up, can you get the footprint with the boot?
Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me get the one
Okay.
with the
We'll
footprint.
wait.
There it is, right there. Okay.
That footprint, that was probably about 10 foot just outside of the structure, maybe less. Now, that's Lisa's boot, and that's a size 7 boot that you're looking at.
Right.
And you can see the toes, you can see the heel, the impression it left in the grass there, right?
That's
Now,
wide too, man. It's super
yeah,
wide, you know?
yeah, it's a pretty good size. Her boot size 7, and
Right.
she's in the middle of it. Now, I figured this print, from what I saw and looked at it, maybe possibly 3, 4 days old, because there's not a whole lot of debris in it. It's pretty clean.
Right.
And that was taken the same day we found the structure.
Right.
And it was headed off into a deep valley and gorge, which, like I said, this was not too far from the Navajo reservation as well. So it could have been coming from there.
Okay. Which picture do you want to show next so you
Let's
can
let's go to the camp picture. That gives a
Okay.
good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is back in September 2021. And this is a campsite. It's southwest of town. And I'm out there by myself. I'm getting set up. So before Lisa comes out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that night, this is a Thursday night going into Friday morning. It was just Peach and I, our little Chihuahua Jack Russell mix. And we're enjoying the evening. It's beautiful out. And we're in the camper, and I'm sitting in the backside of it, and I'm reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, long about 8:30, Peach was getting antsy, and I thought, well, it's time to go out for another potty break. So we go out for a potty break, and I go to the front, close to where my forerunner's at, and Peach starts around the back corner of the trailer by that big tree. Again, it's dark. And when she gets to that corner of the trailer, she stops. Her hackles come up, and she starts growling. I thought, okay, what is it, Peach? And so I finished my business, and I said, come on, Peach, let's go back in.
Right.
Well, we go back in. I'm sitting in the corner of the trailer in the backside on the far side of it. Peach is sitting there with me, and she's shaking, and she's looking at the back window, and she's growling and she's shaking. And I said, what's wrong, girl? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, I get this cold chill, and it zapped me from the top of my nose all the way down to my toes.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
it, about 10 seconds apart, it hit me again. And then all of a sudden, I get this dreaded feeling that, there's somebody watching me. There's something watching me.
Right.
And I just feel like at any moment the trailer's going to tip over or it's going to run his fist through my trailer and grab me. But nothing happened. But I did slide my shotgun over by my bedside. And then all of a sudden, Peach laid down. She went to sleep, and I fell asleep. I couldn't tell you, Carlito, how long it was before I fell asleep. And then all of a sudden, sometime it's around 4:30 in the morning, 3 rapid tree knocks. It just I couldn't do it with my own hand with a baseball bat. And it woke me up. And I sat straight up. It woke Peach up. She sat straight up in the camper. And I thought, okay, it's still here. What's going on? Well, nothing happened, but I didn't go back to sleep. And come daylight, I got up. Both of us went outside. I had my shotgun with me, and nothing took place. There wasn't any sign, no footprints, nothing. Now, did it use that big tree there at the corner? I'm not sure. Did it use one of the trees behind it? Again, not sure, but it was very loud knocks. So Lisa come out that Friday afternoon after she got off work. I didn't tell her anything because I thought first thing she would say, let's pack up, let's go home. But we had a great weekend. Her dad come out with the dogs, and we had a wonderful time. No other incidents occurred, no other encounters. It was just a quiet weekend. So we leave, we pack up and go home Monday. Well, my curiosity is still running 90 for nothing. I'm wondering, what was it and where did it go? Where did it come from? So that Tuesday, I went back out. I went out by myself. And from where you see the trailer setting, I did a half moon grid starting at one end and just kept going wider as I walked out. So nothing, no tracks, no signs, nothing, Carlito. I didn't see anything. Now, that's when, after about, I don't know, I'm going to say 300 yards behind the trailer, I decided, okay, I don't see anything. Then I looked to my left, and if you'll bring up the next picture with the triangle, please.
Okay. Okay, yeah. This one?
This, very good. Yes. This is what I found. Probably it's a good 400, maybe 450 yards behind the trailer. And this is not man-made. Okay.
Right.
The left side of it that you're showing was shoved into the ground. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And the
Okay.
rest of it was weaved in. And let them look at the bottom of it on the one edge. That is perfectly perpetrated right there on
Yeah.
top of that log. And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
rest of it,
Yeah.
that's what I found. Now, I took pictures of this, Carlito, and I sent them immediately to Shell Quixote Dion. You and I know her very well.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
is big into the Bigfoot world
Mhm.
and the paranormal herself.
Right.
She immediately called me and she said, Claude, she said, I'm not 100% sure of this symbol, but she said, one thing I do know, she said, you're right. It was made by them. Okay. So she said there could be a symbol of sacred ground where they meet. And it also could be a simple symbol of maybe a marking place for a loved one that they lost, an elder. But she
Mhm.
wasn't sure. But she guaranteed me, she said, Claude, that was man made. She said, how many humans could shove that down into the ground like that was?
No,
I
not
said,
without a
I don't
shovel.
think there is.
Not without a shovel or
Yeah.
a hoe digger or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that was in September of 2021. And that was that one was kind of a scary moment for me. The dreaded feeling being zapped. Now that's what a lot of people call it, being zapped. If
Yeah.
anybody who is listening has had this happen to them, it scares the crap out of you, and it did me. And being prior law enforcement and everything, you wouldn't think it would, but I don't know. They can play funny games with your mind, and that's odd, and it's not fun when they do it to you.
Right.
So that one, that like I said, that one took some time to get over. I sent a picture, I believe, to you a while back,
Hmm.
and I sent it out to others in the Bigfoot world, and nobody really seemed to have any big ideas about it, and some of it was just opinionated. But a good friend of mine, now that's the structure now that we've seen back in the 20,
Looks like a
and
teepee, right?
yeah, that's the TP structure. But look at it; it's dilapidated. I mean, it's torn apart. It's not been used. There's no entrance into it, and
No,
it's folded in on itself.
right.
So I had no idea why it hasn't been used, whether I scared it away. Yeah, there's the first picture. And
Hmm.
you can see how it's structurally sound there.
It almost looks like it has a doorway or something
That is the
right here.
entrance into it. Yes, that
Okay.
is.
Okay.
That's the entrance into it.
So it's kind of like
And
a den for them, I guess, huh?
yeah. And I
Okay.
crawled into it. Now there
Wow.
was no smells, no hair, no nothing, because I looked for it. But I
Right.
could crawl into it and sit there and look out and be comfortable. So in that aspect of it, whatever was using it was as big as I was, if not bigger.
Right.
Now,
Wow.
this is where I play in their backyard. This is a prairie dog town that I was hunting,
Uh-huh.
which is, and I'm back up against the west edge of this town, which is it's a big bowl full of prairie dogs, and I'm sitting underneath a rock cliff there. Now, at this point where I'm sitting was one of my first encounters with one of them there. Tree knocks. I wear electronic hearings aids when I hunt, similar to
Mhm.
what you have on right now, only they amplify the hearing. I'm
Right.
sitting there one morning, it's early, and all of a sudden, bam, tree knock. And then another one, maybe 10 seconds apart, if that.
Hmm.
And I figured with what I was hearing, they were maybe 40, 50 yards behind me. And again, I'm sitting at the base of this rock cliff, and then there was gravel shoved down on me. I didn't get
Wow.
hit with anything, but the gravel was rolled down. I could hear it. And then a low growl. I said, okay, I know you're here. I'm not here to bother you. I'm out here hunting prairie dogs.
Okay.
I'm not here to bother you. Please don't bother me. I know you're here. And then it got quiet, and I hunted the rest of the morning. And again, I've had a couple incidents with them out here. I seen one watching me watch it, and that was the first time I did actually see one. I seen him in the spring, setting up on the rock cliffs behind this,
Uh-huh.
and carrying a mountain lion tag. When you shoot a couple dogs, they all go down. So I start scanning the cliffs to see if there's any mountain lions. I carry a tag. I seen what looked like a huge shadow beside this rock. I thought, huh, that's interesting. I've never seen that there before.
Hmm.
So I pan to the right of it, and I'm probably 300 yards away from it. I'm sitting on the opposite side from where this is. And I'm watching it. I scan to the right, continuing to look. And when I scan back to this rock, it's gone. There's nothing there. So I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. So I didn't pay no a whole lot of attention to it. So I hunt this area a lot. I haven't been out there for a while now. The dogs are down, and it's not time to hunt coyotes yet. So then, Carlito, one of the next things I did, I listened to Steve Isedall quite a lot. Do you know him of British Columbia?
No, I don't.
Oh, you'll have to. Steve Isedall, Isdahl. Google him, man. This gentleman has hundreds and hundreds of people send in their encounters to him,
Wow.
and he reads them in his own podcast, and then he gives a little explanation. Now, this is where I learned a lot too, because the encounters I've had, these people who talk about theirs, I can relate to them. The mind speak, the orbs, the
Right.
visitations.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it just only reiterates to me that I'm not crazy. I'm not going nuts. Other people have seen and watched the same thing. So, listening to Steve early in January, he spoke about an email. He said, "Oh, we have another email from the Arizona 4." I thought, "Oh, okay, this is interesting."
Right.
So as he read the email, they were talking a lot about what's called the Mogollon Rim. And that runs just to the west of us and all along the 260 from White River, Arizona, down to Payson, Arizona. It's about 100 miles long. And it runs on and off the Apache Nation and the Navajo Nation. And it's full of stories. And the one back in 1945 is about a Boy Scout troop who had what they called a big hairy black man run into their camp, tore up their camp, ate all of their food, then took off. Well, that's called the Mogollon Rim Monster, and it's a big story. So I wrote to Steve and I said, "Steve, if you would please give the Arizona 4 all my information, I'd like to get with them," because the way they talked, I knew they had to be close by, somewhere in the neighborhood. So it was late January, early February. I got contacted by a gentleman by the name of Chuck Jacobs. Now, Chuck is one of the Arizona 4 and also a BFR researcher here in Arizona. Now, the Arizona 4 is not just for people. Arizona 4 stands for Divided Sections for Arizona. There's 4 sections of it. Chuck Jacobs, Kevin Keene, and Wayne Dillon just happened to be up in our area, in our section. So talking to Kevin and Chuck and Waylon at breakfast one morning in Heber Overguard, we're sitting there and I'm asking him a bunch of questions. I said, I'd really like to join your group, guys. I mean, I've been enthusiast and I've had some encounters here with Bigfoot. So if it's possible, I'd like to join. So as we're sitting there, Chuck is sitting across from a table from me. Kevin is to my right, and Wayne is sitting across from him. We're in a small table of 4. All of a sudden, Wayne looks at Kevin. He says, "Did you feel that?" Kevin said, "Yep, I felt it." And then as I'm talking to Chuck, Chuck says, "Yep, I felt it too." Then Wayne looks right at me and he says, "Claude, did you feel anything?" I said, "Yeah, I got a tingle down my back." And he said, "Yep." He said, "They know we're talking to you right now." Now, these guys, Carlito, have been doing this for the better part of 20 years. Chuck, he's a retired firefighter, and I had no reason to believe and doubt him, nor Kevin. Kevin is an Army veteran. And, being a retired officer, I can tell when somebody is telling the truth or when they're trying to, tell me a fib. I believed every one of these stories these guys told me.
Right.
Well, I asked them, I said, "Okay, well, what do you guys feel about being tagged or connected?" Wayne looked at me and said, "Claude, all 4 of us here are connected and tagged. You've been tagged for quite some time. You just haven't really known it." So we had breakfast, we finished up, and Kevin said, "Well, I think I'm going to be going out this weekend. Would you care to join me?" I said, "Kevin," I said, "I'd like to." Now, I said, "This is also Mother's Day weekend." So I said, "I got to check with my better half to make sure." So I talked to Lisa and she said, "Yeah, go ahead, go." So I called Kevin. I said, "Kevin, I'll tell you what, I will meet you Friday night at camp. And at the same time, then I'll stay overnight. And then I got to come back Saturday morning for Mother's Day." He said, "Great." And he gave me the directions on how to get there. Now, this campsite is between Show Low, Arizona, and Payson, Arizona, and straight down to 260, going towards Payson. So when I get to the turnoff, it's another 15 miles north, up into the mountains, and off of a fire road. And we're at 7,500 foot above sea level where we're at. Now, we're out in the middle of nowhere. And I get there, and Kevin, he's already set up. He's got his camp set up, and he's set up around a fire ring, but it's not started. We're cold camping that night. So we're sitting there and we're talking. I'm asking him questions about Bigfoot, and he's telling me a lot of the stories in this camp where they're at. And they've been camping there for quite some time now. And as we're sitting there, all of a sudden another gentleman pulls up. His name's Paul. He's a true believer, but he had never had his own encounters. And he was hoping to have something happen that night. So as we're sitting there and it starts getting dusk, we've been chit-chatting. Paul had asked me about my encounters, and I told him about some of mine. And Kevin goes to his truck and he pulls out this Bluetooth speaker. Now, he sets it about 10 yards away from us, and he turns it on, and it's playing nations, people's music. It's very soothing, very relaxing, and I like it. So we're continuing to talk, and it's getting dusk. I'm going to guess around 7:30 maybe. And all of a sudden, here come the orbs, and they're starting to fly around. Now, these orbs are white, and they're anything from the size of a golf ball to probably a muskmelon and softball. Same orbs that I seen and watched fly around in Lisa's bedroom. I think I sent you the video of it way back. And she didn't see him on the regular watching him until she watched the video. And that's when, Piper let her know. But these are the same orbs, and they're flying around. So we're sitting there, we're watching, and all of a sudden, the eye shine starts. And there's 3 of them. There's 3 sets, and they're white. They're not blazing orange like some people say, or blazing red. They're just white. And they're probably 30, 40 yards away from us. Now, when I'd look at the one, it ducked behind the tree. And the others would just, I think, maybe close their eyes and just disappear for a few seconds. Then I'd look away and it'd pop back out. And there it is. And I said, Kevin, are you seeing this? And he said, yep. Paul, do you see this? Paul said, yes, I see it. He says, what is it? I said, eyes. And I said, they're there. And Kevin said, yeah, they're there. They're not showing themselves right now. So this went on for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes longer. And then the orbs just floated away, and so did the eye shines. So we're standing there, and we're sitting there, I'm sorry. And when we get to this is big gray. But Kevin and I were talking. All of a sudden, Paul says, guys, look to my 9 o'clock. And now I'm sitting in the middle of them. Kevin's to my right, Paul's to my left. And when I looked to his left at his 9 o'clock, there was this large floating orb. Now, this is not a perfect circle. It's kind of tan in color, but it is bright. And it's coming towards us. And it's closer and closer. And then all of a sudden it stops in between 2 trees. Looked to be about 3 foot off the ground and 7, 8 foot tall. And as we're sitting there watching it, all of a sudden this liquid starts to form in it. And it looked like liquid mercury. And it's just floating around it. And I'm going, what is this? And then Kevin starts saying, you can come out now. You can come over here and talk to us. We'd like to see you. We'd like to talk to you. I'm flabbergasted, Carlito. I'm flabbergasted. I've heard of portals. I've seen them on,
Right.
Skinwalker Ranch. They showed them and proved them there, and seen them on other pictures and heard about them, in Expedition Bigfoot. But I'm watching one live that night. And I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, time went to the wayside with me. I don't know how long it was there.
Did you feel like time stopped for
Yeah.
a couple seconds?
Yeah, it did. It just, my jaw dropped to the ground, and we're watching it. So, and then it starts, after Kevin said, you can come out and sit here with us and talk. It just started backing off and floating away. The liquid went away. It disappeared. And then, I don't know. It boom, it's gone. Now, mind you, we're 15 miles off the main road up in those mountains, 7,500 foot above sea level, and there is nobody within 5 to 10 miles of us. So it wasn't car lights. It wasn't a flashlight from another camper. So,
Right. Y'all were deep in the woods, weren't you?
pardon?
Y'all were deep in the woods, about 10
Deep,
miles in.
real deep.
Yeah.
It actually, you took 9 miles off of the main road, went left, and you went another 4 miles that way, and then about a mile and a half off of a fire road. It was actually a fire road where we were off of. Second, please. So after it disappeared, I looked at Kevin. I said, Kevin, was that a portal? He said, yes, it was.
Yeah.
I said, holy shit.
That was definitely a
So
portal. Mm-hmm.
that was another piece of my puzzle right there that night that was put in. It was portals. They do use them.
Right.
And the one thing Kevin said, he said, we see them a lot here. They come visit, but they don't tell us where they go when using these portals. So
Right.
that's a big question.
Right.
Now, I don't know how many other people out there may or may not have seen them that's listening to your show tonight,
Mm-hmm.
but they are real. They
Yeah, I'm
do
pretty sure.
use.
I'm pretty sure
They
they
are
know,
real.
and they probably either
So
experienced it themselves or
yeah,
heard about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now after that, Paul drifted off to sleep, and Kevin and we're talking about these portals and other aspects of the Sabe. And Paul wakes up. He says, "Wow," he says, "I'm tired." It's probably about 10:30. He says, I need to get some sleep." He said, I'm headed for my tent. And Kevin said, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Well, I had taken our Forerunner and I had it set up to sleep in it. So as I stood up from my chair, I got an instant headache, just boom, just like that. Felt like somebody hit me upside the head. And I grabbed the back of my chair to steady myself. And then just this real raspy male voice in my head said, leave. And I thought, oh shit. And I looked at Kevin and said, Kevin, I got to go. I got to go, man. I said, I
Wow.
got a hell of a headache. It won't stop. And that's when he grabbed my arm and he said, whoever is doing this, would you please stop? Claude's a good guy. Well, after standing there, I said, Kevin, it's not stopping it. I got to get out of here. Well, so I get in the Forerunner and I'm starting out. Now I've got woods on both sides of me. On the left side is also a hill. And this damn dreaded feeling has zapped me again. I'm thinking, oh shit, they're going to throw a rock at me through the windshield, or they're going to throw a limb, or one's going to jump out in front of me and cause me to
Yeah.
wreck. It never
You felt like they were following you then,
Yes.
basically. Yeah.
And like Chuck had told me, Claude, he says, you don't have a very good reputation with them with that after your incident in 1994. So, okay, well, I get back to the main road. I get home. It's about 1:30 in the morning. And Lisa said, what are you doing home? So I told her the story. And this is the honest God's truth. Carlito, I was so upset. The next day, I got on my computer and I erased everything. Anything and everything that had to do with Bigfoot. I
Right.
even deleted you as a friend. I
Right.
deleted everybody else. I had had enough. That's the third time I'd been zapped with that damn dreaded feeling. And I was kind of tired of it because
Right.
it does. It just wipes you out.
That kind of drains you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a email on Facebook from Todd Erie of Cryptid Creatures. He said, hey, Claude, he said, I have a friend by the name of Blake Botel. He's getting ready to do some podcasts. Could you help him out? Could you
Right.
do a podcast with him? I said, okay, send him my information. So I did one with him. And then again, I got away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake, I did tell Dave down in Mesa, and he said, damn. He said, they really have it in for you, don't they? I said, well, I don't know about that. But I said, what I did see that night, I said the eye shine, the orbs, the portal, I said was just pieces of my puzzle that got put together, like Steve Eisendahl talks about.
Right.
This is just like a big puzzle that you put a piece together one at a time. So finally, in July, Blake gets a hold of me and he says, "Hey, Claude," he says, "are you ready to talk about this?" And I said, "Okay, I will." So I did that.
Hmm.
And it's on, if anybody wants to listen to it, it's on
Spotify.
Mountain Monsters Explore the Truth, or Mountain Man Explore the Truth.
On Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's.
after that,
Mhm.
things were quiet. And then the evening that it was me and our little dog, Piper. We're sitting out on our little patio,
Mhm.
and I'm drinking a cup of coffee, which I always like to do. And she's sitting on my lap, and she's starting a low growl. I thought, okay, what's going on? What's happening? And I kind of look over the top of her head, Carly. It was like looking from iron sights. And I don't have any pictures of that, sir.
Right.
But I look up into the tree branches that's at the corner of our apartment. And at first, I thought I was just seeing a swarm of bugs. Okay.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you start seeing this, what looked like a liquid gel floating in around. And it's a circle, not a perfect one. Maybe, I don't know, from that distance, I'm going to say
S-
4 foot.
So it is how they describe it. Then it looks like a liquid gel inside of a circle or
Liquid gel.
oval, whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Portal.
is floating outside my apartment.
Hmm.
Okay. And I looked at it and I said, I can see you, right? I know you're there.
Hmm.
And everything stopped. The bug movement was there. It stopped. The liquid movement stopped. And I said, "You're scaring the hell out of my dog."
Mm.
I said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Are you here to harm us, or are you here just to visit?" And I didn't get anything. No, no dreaded feeling. Didn't get zapped that time. It was there for maybe 30, 40 seconds. And then it just slided off to the corner of our apartment.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, well, there's another piece of the puzzle. People say they cloak. They can cloak. This was proof positive of it to me.
Hmm.
So again, like Dave said, if people were to hear us talk about that are not true believers, they would think that what I've just said tonight and told him and what he has felt, that we were batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we're not.
Hmm.
We're not.
Right.
They are real. They can do all of
Yeah.
these things that
Absolutely.
I've discovered. Now,
Absolutely.
with me, seeing is believing.
Right.
Always, Donna, pay attention to your dog's warnings. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That is very true.
Hmm.
Peach warned me that night, and Piper
Oh
has
yeah.
warned me a couple times.
Oh yeah. Your dog can save your life. You know that, right?
Dogs are very sensitive
Because
to them. Yes.
they can smell further than we can. They can see further than we can, and they got that extra heightened sense
Sense.
to
Yes. Very, very much
like
so.
to present like how to feel something around the area. You know, like a presence. They feel that even more
Yeah.
so than we do. You know, or
Very much so. Very
yeah.
true, Carlito.
We have to. They have to be like right behind us for us to feel it, but not dogs. Dogs feel from like
Yeah.
far
They
away.
have a 360. You're correct.
Yeah.
And a very further distance away than what we do. Their sense of hearing, smell, sight is much keener.
Right.
Now, to go along with dogs, Chuck told me when I explained to him the 2021 encounter with the camping, he said that Peach probably seen the Bigfoot
Something. Right.
and that it was probably cloaked when she did.
Right. Right.
So, in that aspect of it, whatever she saw, it scared the crap out of her. Then, when getting zapped, I thought, yeah, having heard about these stories of people getting zapped with the dreaded feeling, I
And
was
you know
pretty.
what too? You know what too? Let me add to that real quick, Claude. Dogs have this extra sensory something gland or something in their brain or in their eyesight. I don't know what's called. I've never actually heard of this being scientifically proven or anything like that. But dogs can actually see dead people and ghosts. You know,
The
yeah.
spiritual world, they are very more
I,
connected to it as
I have
well, Carleo.
stories. I have
Yeah,
stories about that.
yeah,
That
they are.
dogs chased after ghosts and there was nothing there. Yeah.
What it is, I couldn't explain it all of myself, but you are very right.
Hmm.
They are connected. They see more, even in the spiritual world. The ghosts, we may
Right.
not see it, but their presence is known to them,
Right.
not us, but to them.
Yeah.
And it's just like Donna Ortega said here,
Hmm.
you know, they can see in the spiritual realm. Donna, you're very true. It's very true that
and and they can hear things we can't hear. I don't know
right.
if you ever you ever heard of that little caller? They can hear that, and it
Yeah,
affects their ears, and it makes them like
yeah,
cringe or whatever. And we can't hear it. See what I'm saying? So that's like a
yeah.
different frequency that they can tune into and hear that we can't. We can't hear that frequency.
That's true.
See what I'm
Their
saying? So
sensory organs are much more
yeah,
defined than what ours are.
right,
So,
absolutely,
uh, again, some people say that when a owner of a dog passes, that dog can sense that person's presence
yeah,
for
hmm,
quite the time. For
yeah,
quite the time, I
yeah,
believe that.
yeah. And dogs can sense when somebody's gonna pass away.
Yeah,
Dogs can still see when somebody just passed away. They can still
yeah.
see that person or animal or whatever. I've seen videos
Agreed.
with animals sensing or seeing something that is not there,
Yeah.
and the owner explains that a cat or a dog just passed away and they still see them. So
Well, and see,
it's
that's the
crazy,
same way with Peach and Piper. Now, Piper, she
right?
is a mixed German Shepherd and Terrier. She's just a little shit herself.
Right. Hey
But
Claude, so I wanted to ask you because I've been having this picture up for a while now. What is in this picture? Can you describe what it is to us, please?
pardon?
Can you describe what's in the picture for us, please? In that picture right there.
Which this one,
Hmm.
Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the big gray.
Hmm.
Now, this picture was taken by a rancher in what's called the uh, flats out here. Just it's probably about 30 minutes up from us.
Hmm.
And Chuck told me about Chuck Jacobs when we first talked. Now, this big guy here has been on the mountain for many, many years.
Okay.
And he was causing a lot of troubles with two ranchers up here. So Chuck was called by one of the Arizona Four Rangers, a female.
Hmm.
Now, she went out and she was the first one to try and investigate this guy.
Does she have a name? Have they gave her like a name or anything?
No,
I
not
know you
that I
said
not
Big Gray,
no,
but I mean
yeah.
a real
They just
name?
call
No.
it they just call him the big gray. Now this picture was taken
Hmm.
by, like I said, by a rancher going back to his ranch. Now, a lot of ranches around here, they might be a quarter mile off of the main road.
Hmm.
And so Chuck had said this, like I said, this guy was causing a lot of problems with the ranchers. And they went up to investigate. Concho Flats. I'm sorry, there we go. Concho Flats. Now, this is right in the corner of, again, Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah.
Oh, okay.
So when they went up there, this one had been told by clan members. Now,
So is that like a tri-state foresty area
yes,
there? Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it's only about a 40-minute drive from us.
Hmm.
So this guy's not too far from where we're at.
Right.
And the clans, I've been told and have read, they have a hierarchy of the elders. And these elders are the ones who basically are ruling the younger of the generations below them. And I guess the clan got together and so told this guy, this big gray, hey, stop whatever it is you're doing. You're bringing too much heat on us.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this rancher that Chuck had talked to, not the one that took the picture, but the one who's having problems, he said, Chuck, he said, it disappeared. It hasn't been around for about 4 weeks now. It was tearing up his fences on his cattle, He'd seen it a couple times. He said he was. I was told he had even shot at it. Now whether he did or not,
Wow.
I can't verify that.
Do they
That's
do they
just
know do they know, Claude, if it's a male or a female? I think you mentioned
male. It
female.
was a big
Male.
male.
Okay.
This is a big male. Now, and
Wow.
the main
Okay.
thing was too, Carly. They said it was a big gray.
Uh huh.
Now, if you look real close, this is a gray. Now, how many gray have they been seeing up here? I
Right.
don't know. The one I saw was black, and
Right.
okay. That's going back to where
It's
I was.
always either black or brown, right? Like a.
Uh, Black, brown, and now my friend Kyle Krager, he's seen one up close that was auburn red.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only about 30 yards from him, and he had been inside its TP structure up in the upper UK of Michigan. He said when he was inside this TP, he said, I got the funny feeling, Claude. He said, there might be one close by watching us. And he's with his wife. He stepped out,
Wow.
and sure as shit, he looked to his left, and there was one. It was in like he called a linebacker stance. He said on one knee, the other arm was on his knee, and
Yeah.
he said it was
Hey,
auburn red.
it looks to me, Claude, like this guy is kind of like walking away. Is that right? Is that what
He's
I'm
walking
perceiving
away,
there? Okay. It
and
looks like
this
it's
is
back.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
this picture was pasted on Arizona Bigfooters Research,
Mm-hmm.
and the description said it was carrying a deer. Now this guy's
Mm.
brother, the rancher who took this, he jumped on that page real quick and said, "No, it's not carrying a deer." And he blew the picture up. It looks like it's carrying a piece of lumber of some sort,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
tree.
That's what I was
Right.
gonna say. It looks like a big tree limb or something he's carrying.
Yeah, exactly. So this would go in hand with them, building structures. Okay. It's got to find something somewhere.
Right.
So again, is this the Bigfoot that they were talking about that was causing all the problems up there? I can't say for sure 100%, but this was taken in Concho Flats, the same area that a big gray Bigfoot was causing a lot of problems with two ranchers, tearing up their property. I think it may have, I don't know if it killed any of their cattle or what, but this one was really raising Cain, and this happened just the latter part of last year and this earlier part of November of last year and December,
Right.
and that's
Hey,
the okay.
Claude, I have another question real quick.
Sure.
Do they know the size estimation on this creature in the image?
I'm
Has anybody
judging
ever analyzed it, like the size of it?
Carlito, the gentleman who took this said he was probably, I think, 40 yards from it.
Uh-huh.
So this is blown up.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm guessing the size of it. It's at least
8 foot.
maybe 9 foot tall.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
gonna
my
say. That
that's
was
my
my
best.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my best guess.
yeah,
Look at the broad shoulders.
yeah.
Very broad
Huge,
shoulders.
huge.
Look at the
Looks
conical
like
head.
looks
Yeah,
like a linebacker with the shoulder pads and everything.
yeah.
Right.
The description fits like everybody says. Broad shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Huge
Very.
back.
But look at the arms. The arms are as big as round as I am.
Huge. Yeah, those are huge.
The
That's a
conical
huge
head.
back. Yeah,
Conical
conical.
head.
You can see that. Mm-hmm.
The long legs, the stride is very very hairy from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just from what I've seen. This is just my opinion. I'm guessing it may be anywhere between 7 and 9 foot tall. Let's just
Yeah.
put it in a
Anywhere
general.
in that range. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good range, but
Yeah.
it's a big boy.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big boy.
Now, what do you think about, Claude? Let me ask you this: what do you think about Sasquatch or Bigfoot? Families or types of Bigfoots that have big feet, I should say, that have the conical head, because the conical head. It's not only Bigfoots; it comes from the ape. Gorilla is the best example.
Yeah,
Gorillas have a conical head.
they do. They
You know.
do.
So, what do you think? You think it's in the genes that they get that conical head, or I mean,
Uh,
what's your take on that?
I think there is probably different sizes and shapes in all of them.
Mm,
Just like a human being. I mean,
right.
the differences of enough.
Difference. Yeah, different
Now,
shapes, different colors,
right,
different. Yeah.
different colors, different face features,
Mm-hmm.
different builds, and
Mm-hmm.
my thoughts and opinions are this: the one I saw,
Wow.
I said in the spring, and then later on this summer, when I looked in the same area and the same thing, there it
Mm-hmm.
was again. It was a big black one.
I would love, I've always told everybody this, everybody that knows me in the crypto world, I would love to see a Bigfoot just to prove to myself that they're real. Because I
Yeah,
already know they are.
yeah.
It's like the UFOs. I knew they were real before I
Oh
had
yeah.
my 3 encounters. I had 3 encounters on UFOs. So I
I
already
see them.
knew they were real
Yeah.
before I saw them. So and I feel the same way about the Bigfoot. Like I'm 100% sure. Now the
Oh yeah.
dog man is more like a 75%
Ooh,
sure that they're real, because all the course of
I
all
know.
the encounters.
You don't want to have anything to do with them things.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to run into one of those.
I
Yeah,
know.
no.
But
But a Bigfoot, yeah, because and to me it's like a distant family related,
yeah,
being, you know what I mean? So,
they have been here, if not longer than mankind.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt
So now
it.
this is how I've my opinion. The black one I seen then later on out there hunting this year. I
Hmm.
seen him again sitting in the same spot, and I'm looking at him through binoculars, and I'm probably about 100 yards closer. I'm sitting on a hill myself, big
Right.
black face, and round, very hairy, similar to what you're seeing on this big gray one. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so the hair jet black,
Hmm.
and I probably seen him from maybe his shoulders down, and that was it. He was hiding behind a rock.
Hmm.
But it just affirmed to me that they come in all shapes and sizes and colors. Now, here's another thing I feel, and this is my opinion, along with a lot of others in the Bigfoot world.
Hmm.
There are the good, the bad, and the ugly amongst them. The good
Oh.
ones are the ones that, maybe a lot of people have made contact with because there are several people who are connected.
Hmm.
Just like Shell Kyoto, I mean, she's been having encounters since she's what, 12, 13 years old, and she
Hmm.
can communicate with them. Kevin does. And it's mind speak. Now, the only mind speak I've had is with the one that told me to leave that night in camp.
Hmm.
So the bad is probably like this big gray one. He's causing a ruckus. He's brought attention to a lot of them, and he's being told by the other clan members, "Hey, look, stop this shit." In whatever way, shape, and form they communicate, because it did stop.
Oh wow.
Now, the ugly are the ones that you've heard that have terrorized parts of Texas and around Louisiana and Texas. Am I correct? They
Yeah.
say the bad ones are really there.
Yeah. Yeah. They are
And
very aggressive.
very aggressive, yes, towards humans and towards a lot of other things.
Hmm.
So I think they probably come in all shapes and sizes. The pictures that Todd Standing have had, the heads are conical and some of them are round, and the facial features are pretty much so the same. But my friend, the way Kyle Krager had described them, the ones that he's seen two of them himself. He said they look like Australian Aboriginal indigenous people.
Okay.
And
Aboriginal people.
Aboriginal, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful for me.
Right.
But he described them like that. He said the skin tone, the ones he's seen, the red one was kind of more of a tan. The black one was a dark gray. So, and it scared the shit out of him both times he's seen him.
Right.
But now he is connected himself, and he says, "I can't go out camping. I can't go out in the woods. I can't go hunting. I can't go fishing." But they let me know they're there, and it's the same way with me. Now, the tree you have up, sir, that's off of a buddy of mine's property in Indiana,
Yeah, tell us
close
about
to,
that. How did that happen? What was the backstory on that?
yeah. Now, this was taken just a couple days ago. Again, this is a good friend of mine. He is in law enforcement. We were in law enforcement in the same county together. We
Mm-hmm.
trained hand-to-hand combat together for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I also trained him in firearms. So this guy's very credible himself.
Mm-hmm.
He showed me these pictures and he said, Claude, what the hell is doing this on my property? And he said, there's only about 30 yards from my deer stand.
Wow.
And I said, I have no clue. I said, I'll send him off to some friends of mine and we'll see.
Well, those are definitely claw marks.
Yes.
I could see, I could tell that like the first second I seen them. But what's making them though? That's the intriguing part. It's like I mean, and they look pretty down low to the ground there,
Yeah.
Claude. They don't look too high, maybe 2-3 feet up from the ground or something.
That very
But
good. That's
right,
true.
okay. But what can take the bark off a tree like that? You know what I mean? Now I've heard, pretty sure Bigfoot can, but I mean, damn, they don't have claws. So I mean, what would take it off? I mean, if it was a Bigfoot,
Yeah.
they have nails like we do. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure bigger
Now,
and stronger and thicker and all that, but they don't
yeah.
have claws. That looks like
The
claws.
shredded area
Uh
is
huh.
he told me it was about 4 foot off the ground. Yeah, that's about 4 foot off the ground. Now another one, there's two pictures of two different ones.
Hmm.
The other one was taken on his property, but closer to the edge and close to Crane Naval Base, the naval base there. And it's from another buddy of his that's hunting his woods and probably about 30 yards from his tree stand. So he said, what the hell's making them? Now, he told me he sent these to 3 different conservation officers that he's good friends with.
Hmm.
2 of them said, that is a buck rub. The one said,
Oh.
Ron, I have not a clue.
Oh, it must have been $20 that rubbed on that on that tree to make it look like that. I can't believe just one buck
Yeah.
would do that. There ain't no way. But
Carlito, I've
yeah,
hunted deer in Indiana since I was 16. Okay.
right,
Buck rubs are usually on trees not much bigger around than 4 to 8 inches.
right,
And they don't shred them. They take the bark off,
right,
but they don't shred them like this.
right, right, right.
And this is shredded. Whatever it was, you
That
can
yeah,
see
that's
the claw
shredded. That's
marks.
clawed. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
see
you
the
can see claw marks
claws.
in it. Now,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what this was on a page out of a hunting area and trail cam in Indiana. He doesn't know where. If it was southern, I could see the possibility of it being a mountain lion.
That's what I was going to
Close to
ask you next.
Kentucky,
Yeah.
southern Illinois has mountain
Is there
lions.
any bears or cougars known to be in that area?
No, no bears. Northern Indiana up around Michigan, bears do wander down now and then. That's what I thought I was seeing back in 1994 and hearing. This, I have no clue, but you can
Because
see
I
the
mean,
claw.
it had to be something big. You know what I mean?
Big,
Like a bear
very big.
or a cougar, or mountain lion, something like that. Because
Yeah,
I don't think a little possum's going to do that, or
yeah,
raccoon,
no,
or
no.
anything like
Now,
that. No.
here's something to think about too.
Hmm.
Last year, this same gentleman, Ron Hance, sent me pictures of 3 dogmen on his property. Now, I sent these same pictures to Shell,
Uh huh.
and she told me right away. She said, Claude, those are dogmen. Now,
Is
Shell,
that the ones you sent me to, or no? The kind of
yes,
like black and white ones?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And those,
You want me to pull them up so I can
yeah,
see
if
what
you
you're
still
saying?
have them, go ahead. We'll
Yeah, I
talk
think I
about
do.
them.
Right here.
No, no, not that one. That was the one he just sent me. That I sent you. That looks to me. Some people think it's a mountain lion, a big lion, and this was taken close to where those trees were
Hmm.
shredded. So
Oh, okay.
look at the tail. The tail has the features. The stomach area is it's very skinny looking, and the legs look like a mountain lion.
Man, it almost
So
looks like a hyena, bro.
and the eyes, if you look at the eyes, when you look at a mountain lion's eyes or any dog's eyes that or
That thing
any
has a
animal, a
snout.
deer
That
that
thing has
see
a
in the night,
snout.
yeah,
Yeah.
when they see in the night, their eyes reflect like this. So he, I don't know. I can't say 100%. It is a cat. I can't say 100% it's not.
I couldn't. I'm at loss for words right now because it
Yeah.
looks like a body of a cougar or mountain lion,
Yeah.
but the head looks more canine-ish. So, man, I can't tell what that is. I
I
mean,
thought I told him that some of the people I sent to come back thought it was a hound that, was wandering loose, maybe from a hunter that lost its dog, or it just, it's out roaming in the woods itself.
right.
That he said, no, I don't think it's any dog, but
Uh,
again, I couldn't tell you if it is or it isn't.
to me, it kind of, except without the hump in the
Yes.
front legs, it kind of looks like a hyena, but it doesn't
Uh,
have that. It doesn't have
that,
that hump in the front
yeah.
leg. That's the only thing.
But when you look from the rib cage back on it, look how the stomach is sucked in.
Yeah.
That is kind of a characteristic of lions, a mountain lion.
Really?
Yeah, I've just seen pictures of them here,
Wow.
and this is probably one. It could have, uh, I don't know. It might be ill. It could be sick, which
Yeah.
that would.
Unless it's a very large feral dog, that someone had and just let go out in the wild, and just had to
Yeah.
find its
Dana,
way. And
oh Lord is right. We
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't know. Hyena face. You're right. She says,
yeah,
Carlito.
yeah,
It's a little blurry. I wish if there was some. I don't have the capabilities of being able to take the pixels of it and
hmm
and regenerate it a little bit better.
You know what it
But
also looks like, Claude? The Texas chupacabra. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever looked that up?
oh,
That's what it
that
looks
never
like too.
crossed my mind.
That's what it looks like. Yeah,
You got a very valid point. Very
yeah.
valid.
The
It
Texas
could
one.
be. It
Yeah.
could be.
It looks like a dog with a big old head, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it looks mangy because it has no
Yeah.
fur. That's what it looks like. But
The rear legs, the hind legs, the one that's got is up.
yeah, yeah,
To me, that's a lot bigger than what normal dogs are,
dogs.
and or a
Yes,
cat.
yes, yeah, yeah.
So
That's what I was getting at. That doesn't look like a
chupacabra,
regular dog. Yeah,
brother, that is, yeah. The hind
yeah,
legs and tail look canine, very good, Dana.
yeah.
But they're also that hind leg is much bigger than most dogs.
hmm
So the
And
chupacabra
this picture was taken where, in Indiana or
in
in
Indiana off of a
Indiana?
trail cam, but I don't
Okay.
know where. Ron sent me this on Facebook and said,
Uh-huh.
"What do you think?" I said, "I have no clue."
Wow,
So that's when I sent it out to you. I sent it to Dave and a few
yeah.
others, and the consensus coming back was that it was a hound dog. And Ron said, "No, it's not." But you look at it more and you start analyzing it. Dave thought it could be a cat, a large cat. So whether it was or not, I don't know. Now there's the bottom row. If you see, there's some more pictures of that triangle. Uh,
Yeah, I see that. Those are
yeah,
I think those are the older pictures you had
yeah,
sent
the
me.
older pictures I sent you. That if you look at that,
Hmm
a good way to tell a structure. Now this is for people, and this was something that was told me by Kevin Keene, which is very good for those that are out there. And you
hmm
see a structure like this, look at it very closely. Does it have saw marks? Or is it jagged edges like you see on
No,
this?
no, it's completely
Because saw
broken.
marks, yeah, saw marks would indicate that it was human made. Now, see how that's precisely put on that?
Yeah, and they're
That's
always on
precise,
top of a log. Have you noticed that?
exactly. That triangle was almost a perfect triangle. Now look at the edge on the left side. That's shoved down into the ground.
Oh,
I'm going to guess maybe a foot and a half. And
yeah,
that's what is supporting the one on the right.
right.
And then it's supported off of the
Yeah,
one on
those
the
are very jagged cuts. That's that you could tell it was snapped.
those were snapped. Now
Those
that, like I
that's
said,
those are the
that's about
cuts.
400 yards behind the trailer that we were that in that campsite.
Right.
And the area, it's full of wild horses. It's full of deer and moose, or not moose, but elk. But this is what Shell told me. She said, Claude, this could be a sign of a sacred ground, of a meeting place for them.
hmm
that, or an elder passed away, and could be a marker where
Yeah.
it passed away. But she said, I'm not 100% certain. But she said, I do know it was, and this is what she said, it was made by them.
But
And
I
I
wonder,
believe
has anybody ever? I wonder, Claude, has anybody ever excavated underneath one of these things to see if there's a body down there? Maybe it's like a,
I
you know what I
couldn't
mean?
say
I've
I
always
couldn't.
wondered that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this ground, it hadn't been touched. This ground is hard as rock up here on the
Because
mountain.
they say that they do bury their dead,
Yeah,
right? You know that, right?
yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering, like, where do they bury them? I mean, are
That
these
that's a
like
possibility.
tombstone thingies,
That's a
or
possibility. That's just
right?
you could say that that's a piece of a puzzle that
Yeah,
that
that, that has yet not been discovered.
not yet been you know
Yeah,
determined.
right.
But when I found that, that only proved to me that that was a true visit that night, September 2021. That you know, and like Dave says, Dave has been up in this area. He's a big researcher himself. He's kind of he stays to himself on this, but him and I talk a lot about the Bigfoot and the Dogmen.
Right.
And he said, Claude, he said, the area you are in, he said, there's some big boys up there. And I said,
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it. And I said, this had to be done by somebody pretty big.
Hey,
Now,
Claude. I think I found the pictures that you told me about in the trail
yeah,
cam. I think
yeah.
these are it. Black and white, right? I think they're
Yeah,
right,
the
right?
black and
Those
white. If
ones.
you scroll on, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. Now, if
That's
you can
one.
see that's got a facial feature.
Oh,
That
what?
is facial. And if you go on,
Looks alien to me, man.
yeah,
I mean, look, I don't know if you see
that's
my
the
cursor.
eye,
That's an eye, another
the
eye,
nose,
the
the
nose,
mouth,
and the little mouth or something. And
yeah,
it's
the
like the
chin,
chin,
yeah, the
and then the
throat.
bottom of the throat. Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
neck, right?
This is on Ron's property. This is the ones he sent me last year. I think it was somewhere around in August.
Okay.
Now, if you got more of them to pull up, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
Hmm.
There's nothing in it, right? You can't see it. This is part of the rock cave and where he had his trail cam set up. There's
Okay.
nothing in this picture, but if you go
No.
to the next
To
one
the next one. Let me see.
that shows kind of the rock cave.
That one.
Okay, now this Shell again. I sent these pictures to Shell,
Uh-huh.
and if she outlined me the pictures of it, she said this is a juvenile Bigfoot or dog man
Hmm.
riding on a parent, father, big brother, whatever. But she said, "Look, you can see the claws. It's dug in. That's the
That's a
claw.
claw right there. You
Exactly.
can
It's
see
dug
that
in
one.
to the shoulder.
And those are
Now,
like the fingers from the front hand because they do have
exactly.
fingers.
Now
Kind
you
of
go.
kind of in between fingers, like a hand and a paw put together, basically.
That's a good question. I don't know, but if you, that's the arm right
That's the
there.
arm. Uh-huh.
Okay. And you can see the leg. Look at the right leg. This is
Right
a
here.
picture of the leg.
That
See
looks
the
like a leg.
knee? You can see the knee
The
right
knee
there.
right here.
Yep. Now look back up above the head and right above the arm and the hand
Uh-huh.
looks like a tail
Oh yeah, right here.
right
Yeah.
there.
That
Doesn't
looks
that
like a
look like a
tail.
tail?
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's going into. He said it looks like they're going into the ice cave.
And that probably looks like the right paw or the other hand
Exactly. It looks
paw,
like
whatever.
yep, it does.
Looks like fingers
So
right there.
this is where I started in with my dog man adventures with him.
Oh, okay.
And you get another one up. Okay, now look at this one real close.
Uh-huh.
It looks like a skull. If you look to the lower right hand of the screen, Carlito, does that not look like a skull?
Lower right hand.
The
This
lower
one?
right there, okay?
Yeah.
That looks like a skull. And if you look to just the left of it and follow that up, that looks like a big ear right there. You
Oh,
follow
right
that up.
here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
No,
does
right, a
look like
little
an
more to
ear.
your right.
That does look like an ear.
Right there. Now follow that up. Does that not look like a large ear to you?
Super
A
large
canine
ear.
ear?
Yeah.
Okay, now the last
And that wasn't in the other picture, right? Let me go back to the
no,
other picture.
that wasn't
That one, boom.
okay. That
Nothing
is
there.
that is the picture, the one with it looks like the skull and the ear.
Uh huh.
That is the picture before this one. This was the
Oh,
next
okay.
exact picture.
This was
It's
on
gone.
28. It's on the time
Yeah.
mark 28:52, and this
Now
was
it
on.
okay, there it is. It's in the picture,
Wait, hold on.
and you click on the next one.
409:08.
It's gone.
It's
It's not
gone.
there.
Yeah.
It's just, and he said, "What was that?" I said, again, I said,
Oh.
I
Okay.
think
I
it,
get it. This is 0 hours. That's 12 o'clock.
yeah.
Twelve
So
twenty
I
eight. So
think
12:30.
it
And
was
then
one
this one
possibly
is at
looking at the
409.
camera,
Uh huh.
maybe below a little bit, but to me that looks like a skull
Yeah.
or at top of
Or
a
a
head.
head. Yeah,
Yeah,
head.
and then the big ear, pointed ear,
Yeah.
and then
Sure
the next
does.
picture,
That
like I
looks
said,
like a
it is just
big
it's gone.
ear.
Yeah,
Now this right here, that's very interesting. That's the paw
yeah.
one.
And that right
It's a
there,
close up.
that
Hmm.
shows it even better. You can see the face, the eye, the nose, the and everything on it. And Shell said this is a way a young one will travel on the back of a parent or an older sibling. So
Mm.
this was my beginning into the world of dogmen. And like I told Ron, I said, when you go out, brother, I said, don't go
Hmm.
unarmed. He said, you know me, Claude. He said, I'm going to take a bazooka.
Yeah. Hey,
But
let me retouch on these other pictures you showed me.
this one, okay, this is
Yeah.
my friend Kyle Kragers. Okay. Sandhill Cranes. This is in Indiana and it's on a game reserve.
What are
Okay.
those little birds there? What are they called?
They're Sandhill Cranes.
Oh, okay. Sandhill
Okay.
cranes.
They're in Indiana.
And you
And this
notice
is
they're looking that way. They're
yeah,
looking that way where you got
they're
the
looking that way.
circle
Then, okay, look at the circle. In that circle, you can see a conical head
right there.
right there. Very good. Yeah.
I can
Okay.
see. I'm real good at seeing these things.
This is,
Damn.
yeah,
I'm sure.
this is a further,
And blow it up as
uh,
much as I can.
again, this is a friend of mine and a brother from law enforcement. He was in this reserve. He was looking for a place to bow hunt that morning. And he said he was walking up this lane. And as he said he heard this noise. He said he couldn't figure out what it was.
You can almost see your face right here.
Yes, yes. And he
You
said
really,
when he was
really, yeah,
crested over the top of the hill, he said it was these sandhill cranes squawking and looking in the direction of this that he's seen. He
yeah.
said it wasn't a couple of seconds later, Claude, he said this Bigfoot stood up, looked at him, and he said he no sooner seen it and seen him, they both took off running in opposite directions. He said he knew he'd taken some pictures when he got back to his truck. And when he checked his photos from his camera phone, this is what he had. He saw all the cranes; they're looking right at this, and he said, even though he said it's kind of blurry, he said you can make out the head, like he said, the face.
Yeah.
He said I'm
And
probably about
the what Sasquatch is, what they thing is, they don't have facial hair around their
yep,
nose and high
nope,
cheeks. High cheeks, I mentioned.
yep,
Not lower. Lower, they do have hair.
yeah.
It's just around their eye area and their nose. That's it. You know, where they
He
have
said it took.
no hair.
He said it took off running faster than what he could have ever run himself. Again,
Right.
that's kind of a smaller picture, but you can see those cranes. It's got them spooked.
Both of them. Yeah, both of them
Yeah,
are now looking
they're
that way.
spooked.
Spooked. Yeah.
And he said they were just making all sorts of noise and racket. And
Yeah.
he said,
That's as much as I can blow it up, guys. Right
yeah, like I said, he said he no sooner seen it pop up out of the bushes. He
there.
said I took off running one direction and it went running the other. And he said it was gone in seconds. He said it covered 100 yards in less than 3 seconds.
I'm gonna
He
show
said
the
it
one
was
that has more brightness too.
yeah,
Okay. That's that third one you
but
have right there.
yeah, that one
Let's
right
see.
there. And everybody wants to say it's just a shadow. Well, no. Why would the cranes be honking and raising Cain like he said if it wasn't something there spooking it?
Spooked. Yeah.
But that was taken in, I think it was 1997. Was
Yeah, it
when
just has
he,
a lot more light. That's why you
yeah,
can't see the.
almost see the eyes
See
right there
here.
in the nose. You
Yeah,
can almost make out the eyes and the nose right there
you
of
can
it.
see. You can see
Yep.
a part of the face right here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can see, you can just see, like you said, there's no hair around it right there.
Right there. That's it.
Right
Right
there's
there.
the eyes and the nose right there in the middle of it.
That's right there. The nose.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's Indiana. Now again,
Wow.
that's in Indiana. Northeast. That's in North. Well, it's in North Indiana. I'm going to say probably about midways.
hmm
So, like he said, he figured it was probably about 7 to 8 foot tall, but he said it ran faster than what he ever could.
hmm
And again, he's sat in his truck thinking, "Shit, what was that?" So, but when he looked at the pictures, he said he knew right then and there that it was his first true sighting of a Bigfoot. And he said he thought he'd had similar instances back when in Boy Scout camps. It seems like a lot of Boy Scouts get raided,
See now
but
that's a shadow. That's a shadow. That's
yeah,
a shadow.
yeah,
That I'm not too sure because that's really dark, and it's
yeah.
all lightened up already. So I mean, it could be a shadow or it could be
But if
another one
you
that was with him.
that right there, you can see the almost the conical shape of the head,
Yeah,
the
right here.
shoulders, yeah,
Yeah.
and but yeah, he that was his.
What about
This
that one?
one, uh,
I could see something walking around. You know what? I think Shell sent me that picture. She
that
sent me
might
that
be.
picture, and
I
she
don't
said,
know
"Hey, I
that
got a
one.
friend." I remember that. Shell sent me that picture. She said, "Hey, I got a friend of this. What do you think of this, Carlio?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
that one
man,
I'm not sure of on.
that looks to me. I mean, I said, well, if you're asking me as in the cryptid side of things, to me that looks like a juvenile Bigfoot walking right across a river, bed or whatever, and it looks like it's tilted forward a little bit. You can see the legs open. You can
Yep,
even see the shadow behind it. I don't know if you
yep,
see that.
yeah,
Let me blow it up.
yeah. I see it. I see
See
it.
right there. So
Yep.
this is a subject right here. These are the legs that are opening where it's walking, and this
Now
is the shadow back here of the figure.
that
Where is
right
one?
there, my
That's the
friend,
shadow. hmm
is a good example of one being cloaked.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
one
Yep.
being cloaked. They can't stop the shadow. Now, if you were to watch, do you watch Expedition Bigfoot?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, did you watch season 3 with Ronnie and Myra? And they were looking at it on the opposite side of a riverbank themselves,
hmm
and there was a high cliff above it. But all of a sudden, their lights are shining across the river, and a shadow goes across, and and they said, "What was that?"
hmm
And good possibility that it was a Bigfoot, that the light reflected off of it, but it didn't, and it cast the shadow behind it.
hmm
So that right there is a good example of one being cloaked, but yet
Yeah.
you can see you can see the shape and form that they don't completely disappear. It's just kind of like a jello shape in them. Like it's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Cloaking. Yeah, like cloaking.
Yeah.
hmm
But see, that was another part of my puzzle that was pretty much so put in place that you hear people talking about them, you hear people saying they can do it. Well, yeah, they can.
hmm
I believe these beings are far more advanced in technology and what they can and can't do than what we even realize, or can put a finger on it and say that they can do far more than what we can. I've heard stories of healing powers that they have. Yeah, that's a huge boy. You're right, Donna or Dana. I'm sorry, but
Daniel.
yeah,
hmm
I've heard tell of healing powers that they have, that they can reach out and touch you through their dreams, and that was something that I've not experienced, and but I've read stories of it.
hmm
So can they do it? Possibility. It's one that I can't say 100% yes. I can't say 100% no.
Right.
The things I've talked about tonight are just encounters that I've had myself,
hmm
along with being able to relate to others from their encounters and saying, "Oh, yeah, I had that happen to me too. The
Right,
dreaded
right,
feeling.
right. No, exactly. And see, that's how I like doing my podcast. Because I mean, I know a scary story, fear factor, all that. I know that sells. I know they get 1,000 or 500,000 views. I know that, but that's just a good story, people.
Yeah,
Here in this podcast, we bring real eyewitnesses, and their stories are just that. Well, not stories, but their encounters are just that. They're
or
encounters.
eyewitness encounter.
Some could be really good and interesting and scary or whatever, and some may be just kind of not too scary or whatever. You know what I mean? But they're still encounters. So that's why I'm proud of my podcast, because I don't make up stories. I don't get stories from somebody else and just narrate them and add a few
Right.
things to make it more exciting. I don't do that. And I'm sorry, if y'all don't like that, all you people that love all those channels that have, these fake made up stories and have, thousands and thousands of views and thousands of likes. I'm sorry. I'm not the person. If you want that, go look for that somewhere else. But here is only true encounters from eyewitnesses and people like
No,
Claude.
Carly, I don't consider myself a researcher.
Hmm.
I just consider myself a person who, after 1994, was very, very much so uh, amorized by
And I
him.
like bringing the evidence too, like the pictures
Yeah.
we've been putting up.
Well, evidence speak 1,000 words.
Right,
So you
right,
can't dispute what you see. The
right.
triangles. That to me was just another piece of the puzzle. That, yeah, they build structures, and then David, or I'm sorry, Kevin Keene. He said, Claude. He said the way to tell a structure is built by them. He said, look for saw marks.
Right.
Look for trees around that may have
Is
branches
this
missing.
Claude?
He
Is
said,
this an orb? Is that an orb?
that right there is an orb that I seen one night while I was out taking the dog
Right.
to do her potty break.
That's either an orb or a UFO, man.
It it, it may be both. Now, do you see the center of it?
Yeah, I see that. Let me blow it up. That looks really
That's
orbish
interesting.
to me. Yeah.
That's not a star.
No, no, that's an orb. That's
That's an orb
definitely
that
an
I
orb.
seen in
Yeah.
the mid. It was at night time. Now, talking about UFOs.
Yeah.
Up here, I just mark them in my book. Yep, there's another one. Just the TikTok, the one that the naval fighter jet
Yeah.
recorded. Okay. One afternoon, I'm out with Peach, and we have a small airport that's north of us, and people from the valley fly back and forth. One afternoon, like I said, I'm out with Peach. She's doing her thing, and I hear this one taking off from the airport. It's loud, so I'm thinking, oh, that's a big engine, big twin end Cessna or something like that. Well, it's flying right past our apartment to the west of us, or east. I'm sorry, to the east of us. And I'm watching it. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, he's gaining altitude. He's headed down to the valley. And looking off past him, I seen what I thought was a jet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, the altitude was a lot higher. And when you look at a jet way off in the distance, they seem like they're going a lot slower and maybe one closer to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, it's a jet. It's leaving the comm trail. No big thing. So as I'm watching it, the damn thing just stops right in midair.
Right.
Okay. Now, jets don't stop in midair and just take and go back the same
No.
direction it come from.
Yeah. No.
TikTok shape.
Right.
So Lisa and I, we've seen the lights, triangle lights at night coming home from being in Winslow and Prescott or out of the valley. We see them up here.
You know what I think that is, Claude? I think that's actually a UFO that clones an airplane to the shape of an airplane to not scare people and to fly undetected. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it stops in midair like that, like come on, planes really don't do that. You know what I mean? Because
Planes can't
what
stop.
else can you think? And there's many videos of planes stuck in midair like that.
Yeah.
Many. Now, if they're real or not, or edited or whatever, what do they call it? CGI, whatever. I don't know, but they show the video where it's moving and it stops for a couple seconds and then it keeps going. And the video's still rolling. I mean, you can see, the timestamp in the video that's still rolling.
Yeah.
There's no editing to that. Now, if they edited besides that, then I don't know. But yeah, so that's crazy, man.
Well, it's like I said earlier in the video, we're right in the corner, tri-corner, which is Arizona, uh, New Mexico, and
Uh huh.
Utah. All
Right.
three states are hotbed for paranormal, UFOs,
UFOs. Yeah.
aliens,
Yep.
Bigfoot, and so
Man,
uh,
you're lucky. You have everything there, man.
like I said,
Wow.
I live right smack dab in the
Yeah.
middle of it, and
Yeah. Man,
so
you're so
it's
lucky. You need to get you a telescope. You need to get you a Nikon P900 camera.
send me a camcorder. I really,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, man. That P900 is super, super, zoom. So you
yeah.
can catch any. I think they say you can even see the moon really good with that too. The P900.
Well, it's
That's like one of the best.
the stories I've heard. Dave lives like down in Mesa, which is in the valley. Now, Arizona has some very large military facilities that are test sites. Okay,
Right.
and UFOs are a hotbed up here. And there's a gentleman. The Tic Tac one I saw was in the same skylight as what you're seeing here. Same sky,
Hmm.
but this one probably 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month before that. But
And
yeah,
that looks like it's right before dusk, like right before it's gonna turn into nighttime.
this one's early morning,
Oh, it's early morning. Okay, so
just
it's
just
it's
before daylight. Now it's
right,
kind of
right.
like the dusk and evening, but this is early morning when I took a
So
peek out.
right before dawn, then right before the sun comes up.
Exactly,
Okay, okay.
exactly.
Wow. Okay.
And it's in the southwest skies. It's in the
Mm.
southwest. And again, this is the same direction the plane was going that I was watching, and then the tic tac up above it, which seemed like it was probably, I don't know, could have been maybe that's Peach.
Oh, that's Peach. That's famous
And
Peach. Okay.
okay, this is Peach,
I'll
and this,
show the video, but it has no audio. I don't know why.
yeah,
Streamline for some
it
reason
don't.
it doesn't show audio,
And
but
if
I'll
you can
show the
get that
video.
video, have people watch these orbs. Watch these orbs start flying. She's watching them.
Yeah. Peach. Oh, there goes one right there. Two.
Yeah,
Yep. Three, four,
yeah,
five,
yeah.
six, or if it's the same one, it's going in circles. But yeah, I
Watch the
see him.
big one.
Yeah, I remember this video you showed me a long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah, this was last year. This was
about a year
last
ago.
year.
Yeah. Hmm.
When was it? About September, honey? The video? Oh, the orbs?
Yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember that about a year ago when you showed it to me. Yeah,
When? Oh, it's Thanksgiving last year.
last year. Okay.
But you can see this is Piper, our
Mm.
youngest,
Hmm.
and you can see she sees the orbs panning around. Lisa didn't see them until we watched this video, and I thought,
Wow.
what?
Oh
What?
yeah, it says Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Dave Nels, that I was telling you about, he lives in Mesa. Here a
Hmm.
couple weeks ago, he sent me a video with the same thing happening in his house. Didn't see him, and he's a high-end security specialist, and he works in security in Phoenix and the Mesa area. And he
Hmm.
was testing out some of these new cameras, and he caught the same thing. He sent them to me. He said, "Claude, I'm being visited, aren't I?" And I said, "Yep, you sure are, just like we were." And see, and this is another thing. This is a piece of the puzzle again that was fitted into mine.
Hmm.
People don't really think they can orb into your house. Well, this is proof positive to me that they do. And I have watched videos of other people talking about them coming into their homes
Hmm.
and also moving stuff around. Like one guy said, I had my keys on the counter that I put in the same place every day when I come in. He said, I get up the next morning to go to work and my keys are not there. So he said, I found them on my desk in my bedroom. He said, I know I didn't put them there. And he said, they just come right through the walls as an orb and they stick around for a few seconds and they're gone.
Right.
So
Yeah.
those orbs right there, you can't make that shit up.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can't.
have the technology to make it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it's on video from her camera.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, when Dave sent me the ones from him, he said, Claude, he said, I don't want to be connected like you are. I said, Dave, sorry, buddy.
You know
You're,
what I think, honestly, Claude? I think people that like, okay, well, and that includes me too, because anything paranormal or supernatural or cryptid related, I think we're chosen ones. I think we're chosen ones to run into these things or witness these things, or because I'm pretty sure you've heard where um, Dogman or Bigfoot, they say that in many stories, because I listen to stories like every
yeah,
day or whatever. Uh, they don't you don't see them unless they want you to see them. See what I'm saying? So if they want you to see them, is because they sense something in you that they want you to know that they're real. And so therefore you're a chosen one. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I mean,
it makes sense. And I've
okay.
heard the same things stated.
Whether it be
Uh,
UFO, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever. You know what I
no,
mean?
dog man, I want nothing to do with.
Orman, orbs. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've never seen
But
orbs personally, but I've seen many videos and heard
yeah,
many stories of them.
but what you just stated there, a gentleman that writes into Steve Isedall goes by the name of Owlman, and he's out of British Columbia. Now, Owlman is his name. He doesn't use his real name, but I think he is of the nation's people up there himself.
Mm-hmm.
He himself has been connected with a clan up there for many, many, many years. He said the same thing. You're
Right.
not going to see a Bigfoot
Unless they
unless
want you to
they
see them.
actually want you to see them. So, what you just said, I believe very much so. And that's where the connection comes
That's where
in,
the connection. Yep.
being connected. And like Wayne said that morning when we were having breakfast, he said, Claude, you've been connected and tagged for quite some time. You just didn't know it.
Right.
So, but from 1994 until we moved up here on the mountain in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
no reactions, no sightings, no nothing. So I get up here right in the middle of them, and things really do start to progress. My puzzles, for the most part, is 80% complete. One, I know they can portal. Two, I know they orb. Three, I know they can cloak. They can mind speak, and I've been mind speak by the one that told
Yes.
me to leave.
Yes.
The
I've heard
dreaded
many
feeling
many
being
encounters that
zapped
they might speak. Yep.
and being visited.
Yep.
So 80% of my puzzle to me is complete.
I actually interviewed someone, Claude, on my podcast. Her name was Anne Christine, and she actually told me that she talks to a clan of dogmen, uh, and they're like the good guys. They're benevolent. They're not in any way threatening or aggressive towards her or anything like that. And she speaks to them through through mind speak, like you just mentioned.
I've
You
heard of
know,
that.
yeah, and she actually knows like the clan and all their names. Like each one of them have a name, and the female, which she's a white colored dog man, or dog woman, I should say. She's the leader. The males are all the go getters. Go get this. Go get
The
that.
hunters,
The hunters. Yeah,
yeah,
and
they're
she's
the
the leader.
providers of the food and protection.
Yeah, and I remember really good. Her name is Aurora, which is a beautiful name, Aurora, like the Aurora
Now
Borealis or whatever.
that I think goes along with the Bigfoot clans too. I believe
Yeah,
that the males
absolutely.
are the providers,
Hmm.
the protectors, and the hunters. The
Right.
females, they do produce the offsprings. And I've been told that they are the ones that have more of the healing powers,
Hmm.
and the
I've
ones
heard of
that
that.
will, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
that.
that now here's something that I find interesting between Dogmen and Bigfoot,
Hmm.
um, that they have boundaries. You don't cross over in our area. We
Yeah,
don't cross over into your area.
yeah, I've
There's
heard
a
of that.
truce. a
Mm-hmm.
truce. There's a boundary line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of that.
That
I've heard of
one,
that.
that's something that an owl man speaks about, and I've heard it from others. But uh, and like you said, I think probably in the Dogfoot world, they're the same as the Bigfoot. There's
Yeah,
the good, the
the
bad,
bad.
and the
Mm-hmm.
absolute ugly.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
ones that are
because
terrifying.
exactly because all the stories. I mean, I don't know if you're too much into Dogman Encounter stories or anything, but if you listen to like I've listened for now almost over 7 years now, um, you can make out what's going on and and relate this story to this story or
Right.
encounter or whatever. I've heard this so many times. I heard that so many times, and there's a lot of stories out there that oh, this dog man gave me like a sense of peace, like it wasn't aggressive. Yeah, well, they're not all gonna be like that. There's some that
Right.
are aggressive, and we've all heard those aggressive ones where they reach into your car and try to pull you out or whatever. You know what I mean? All the ones from Big Cunda's shows where the dog was chasing him and it was parallel in his car at 40, 50 miles an hour, stuff like that. I mean, we've heard that, and those are I think those are the aggressive type. And as far as you know uh types, yes, there is all types. There's a hyena type, there's a Van Helsing type, there's the one with regular human leg type. There's all kind of tail, no tail. I mean, there's all kind of types. So, we can't say that they're all the same. That's a big mistake to say, all these creatures, whether it be
I,
Bigfoot or Dogman, are all the same. There's
I
no way.
100% agree with you, and that's why when I was doing the podcast with Blake Patel,
Hmm.
that's why I wanted you to come on to show
Right.
your to share your expertise in that,
Right.
because
Yeah.
really, I just
Yeah.
other
Sorry
than
about that. Sorry about that, Claude. I was so busy back. What was this? About a month ago when
like,
you told me about that. Yeah. I was
well,
so busy.
it's
So.
good that you're busy, and like I said, you
Hmm.
got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Got to
Of
pay the
course.
bills.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I'll share an interesting fact, and you can
Hmm.
Google his name,
Okay.
Jonathan Dover. Okay,
Jonathan Dover.
uh, it's Jona
J-O. Okay. Here we go.
Jona
Jonah
Han
Han
Dover. D
Dover.
as in dog,
You
O
forgot
V
you forgot the T. It's Jonathan, right?
Jona
Mm-hmm.
Han. Jonathan
Okay.
Dover. Dover.
Dover.
He is a retired Navajo Ranger. Okay.
Ooh, wow.
Okay, he's retired
Interesting.
now. He is a nation's person. He's very spiritual.
Very, very
Now he
interesting.
was on David. David Pilates.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
His
Yeah.
last movie, his 411 The Missing that he produced not too long ago last year.
Right.
Okay, Jonathan is on that with him.
Wow.
Now Jonathan and his partner worked with both the Winslow Police Department here in Arizona, which is a couple hours west of us,
Mm-hmm.
and also the Navajo Nation's police department. The Navajo people, all nations people have their own police department on their reservations.
Okay.
Him, Jonathan, and his partner, I don't remember his name. I think Dan might be his first name.
Yeah.
Both being very spiritual, were tasked with these investigations. 1, aliens. 2, UFOs. 3, the paranormal. 4, dogmen.
Wow.
5, Bigfoot. And the 6th one, skinwalkers.
Yes, that's a very big part of
Skinwalkers, okay?
the nations. Yeah.
20 some years of experiences with this.
Wow.
Now, one story he shares with David Pilates, and when David was interviewing, was on I believe, the Navajo reservation close to Winslow.
Mm-hmm.
They got a call. Guy is a sheep rancher on the reservation, and he says, I need somebody to come out and look at my sheep that have been killed. So Jonathan and his partner were tasked to go out there. There was 14 dead sheep. And he said it looked like somebody had put a split in their back, grabbed a hold of them like this, and just tore the skin from
Whoa.
the head to the tail.
Whoa.
The
Oh.
back straps of the sheep were missing. The inner organs like the liver, the heart, and some of the others were gone.
Well, the only way to do that is to like slit a whole, cut in the whole back,
Yeah.
from the spine all the way up, and then to spread
Yeah.
them up like that.
He said,
And it
the
takes,
way Jonathan told this, he said, no man is strong enough to lift a sheep up and do that.
no,
No man.
no,
So he said, in further investigation around the property, they found tracks of what they figured was at least 2, maybe 3 Bigfoot. Okay. So there's probably your bad.
yeah, of course,
The ones that, went out and instead of hunting wild game, they decided to take it easy on and get something easy as a sheep. But there's other stories he tells about the paranormal, skinwalkers, losing track of time going between his house and the Winslow PD. He said it's a 45-minute drive. He said, I get up at 7 in the morning. He said, I'm usually there by 7:45 to grab a hot coffee and a donut with him. He said that one morning, he said it was 8:45. He said, I got an hour I can't account for. So if you
wow,
Google his name, he'll come up, and he's got his
yeah.
own podcast shows that he does. But this guy is
You talking about Jonathan?
yeah. He talks about dogmen. He talks
Wow,
about skinwalkers. This guy's a treasure trove of
wow,
knowledge.
dude, oh
And I
man,
tried to get a hold of him
uh-huh,
through the Winslow PD because I was going to try and have him come on with the podcast show that I was helping out with, but
right.
he never got back with me. And
No, oh,
you know,
okay.
but
Yeah,
here's
'cause
here's
I was
something.
gonna say, like, if you had some kind of contact with him, because man, I would love to have him on my show, man. But like you said,
Yeah,
he's kind of hard to reach. So I'm sorry,
here's
what were you
something
saying?
that's
Hmm.
unusual up here where I live in Show Low.
Hmm.
Okay, the nation's people, you see them all the time, and they're great people. Okay,
Hmm.
nobody talks about Bigfoot up here. It's, you don't hear about it. But I'm sure with all the elk hunters, that seems to be the majority of people who do see a lot of them is elk hunters because they follow the herds.
Right,
And
right, exactly, yeah.
but going into a restaurant and sitting down at a table you don't hear anybody else talk about. I don't bring the subject up myself, but and I don't talk to anybody but like-minded people,
Right, right.
just such as
You you know
yourself.
you know there's another theory too, Claude, that I've heard throughout the years that that when they do the seasonal thing like that, sometimes well, they actually, like you said, they follow the herds, right?
Right.
Deer season, all that. Um, but sometimes it's like they kind of switch. They kind of alternate. So Dogman will be in there, for a while. Then they leave, and then Bigfoot comes in, and
Very
then
good.
Bigfoot leaves, and Dogman comes back in.
That's
See
a
what I'm
good
saying? So
point.
they kind of alternate. That's what I've heard throughout the years. So you
Now,
know,
up here on the mountain right now is it's dropping down into the teens tonight, so it's really cold. Since the cold weather hit us up on here mountain, a couple snows, I haven't been outside as much,
mm,
but I have not had any visitations at all. So I'm wondering if the possibility that they migrated further south into the
right.
warmer valleys.
I think so because you know what? I've heard that dogmen are more sighted and encountered during the winter season, during the cold season. See
Right.
what I'm saying? And Bigfoot are more encountered during the summer season, the hotter
That makes
season.
sense.
You know what I'm saying? So,
So again, I haven't been out in. Well, I was out a couple of days ago looking for the trees that we cut. We cut our own Christmas trees this year.
hmm
Saw a lot of carcasses are laying around. Now, some of them I know are mountain lions, and some of them are probably uh, the possibility of a bear. There's bears up around here that might have taken them down. But I seen a tree that was pretty much so shredded, just like the ones Ron sent in. I was going to go out today and get a picture of it, but I didn't want to leave the dogs alone. And when I went past it Friday, I got an eerie feeling about it
hmm
because the trunk was probably as big around as the ones in the pictures that you've seen,
hmm
but there was a branch that was probably, let's say, about that big around, jutting up like this. It was threaded from the base, probably at least 4 foot out all the way around it.
Hmm.
I don't think an elk would do that. The elks do shred trees up here, but why would it shred a branch like that? And plus, the ground was tore up underneath of it. But just looking at it, I thought, holy crap. And then all of a sudden, I started getting that little weird feeling that possibility, hey, go on, Claude, just leave this area alone.
Yeah.
And I did.
Listen to your intuition, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first time I've seen a tree, and this is in an old dog town that I used to hunt. And I thought, well, there's a lot of trees out there. Maybe I'll find a nice couple trees out there because we cut one for uh, my stepdaughter and son-in-law and my grandson.
Right.
So, but
Hey,
that
I
was
have a
weird.
question. I have a question for you. Were there
Sure.
any shredded bamboo?
Pardon?
Were there any shredded bamboo? That's a question from
No,
a
there's no
spiritual
bamboo in the
encounter.
area.
Encounters. Oh,
No, this is all pine, but
oh,
mainly ponderosa pine and juniper.
fine. Uh huh.
A lot of juniper, and this piece of paper I had that was from what you could cut explains all of them, but the main ones is ponderosa pine, junipers, and there's one that produces a blueberry about yay big. What kind?
Blue spruce.
Blue spruce. My that's Lisa in the background talking. Uh, but blue spruce. But no, there's no bamboo on the mountain, and basically there are some hardwoods, but very little, very little. The hardwoods are more towards the south out of the pine woods forest, and more up north towards I would say Utah and New Mexico.
Right.
So no. Now the one thing I have noticed with some of the trees out here also is I've seen them uprooted, pulled up, and just laying there.
Hey,
The wind,
Claude, I have a question for
sure.
you of my own. You mentioned you mentioned those three states, which is Arizona and what were the other two? Utah or Wyoming? What was it?
Utah
Utah and
and New
which
Mexico.
New Mexico. Okay, I know all three of those states are where Native Americans live. Okay,
Yes,
that's a
very,
very
very,
very heavy Native American
very,
area.
very, very, very.
Yes.
You're absolutely 100% right.
Now, let me ask you this: have you ever talked to any Native American around that area or any area, that you might have encountered about these, creatures?
No,
Whether it be, Bigfoot or Dogman or Skinwalker, because that's what they mainly know them as, Skinwalkers.
I tell you where mainly I see them, and that's when I
Mm-hmm.
go to Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have talked to one say, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" or something like that, or "Excuse me." But
Mm-hmm.
as far as having the conversation with one, no, I can't say as I honestly have.
No,
Now, a
okay.
very good friend of mine up here who he owns his own gun shop, local gun store, and he's also a firearms expert himself. He works on the nation's people's firearms. Okay, he does a lot of gunsmithing work on. He reloads for him, and he's the one that told me a while back. The nation's people tell him, Carlo, Sasquatch are many here on the mountain. Now, but it's just like most of your native people. It's just like I'll give you an example.
Well,
Sheldon Quinn is now he is a native person in British Columbia,
mm-hmm.
Merritt to be exact. From me, he's 15 miles due north, just across the line from Washington State. Okay, and I got lucky enough to have him on a podcast with Blake Motel. And he even said then in his podcast, he said, he said, a lot of the elders ask me not to say a lot about the knowledge that I know.
Right. Yeah.
So,
That's very common within, the
yes,
Native Americans. They don't talk
yeah,
about it
no,
unless they really have to or something, but they really don't want to talk about the things that they know and they've seen.
yeah,
And that's the big intrigue of us common folk, that we know that they know, but they don't want to talk about it. So we wonder, like, how much do they know? You know what I'm saying? that's what kind of gets us like wondering how much do they know. You know, a lot of people, it's kind of leaked out that they say that Native Americans don't see cryptids as I mean, sorry, uh, Dogman or Bigfoot as a cryptid. They see them as forest people. They see
Yes,
them as grassland people. Grass people. They're known as grass people, forest people. There's many names for it.
Abe.
hmm From the Native Americans, they don't see him as a threat. They don't see him. They just see him like another being. Living amongst us in this world. You know what I mean? So to them, it's like not a big deal. You know what I mean? They seen them, they know
It,
them, they know how they are, they know
it,
how they migrate, whatever, and they don't bother them, and
they don't bother them.
they don't
That's
bother
right.
them. Yeah.
They There's a story that goes way back, and this is David Pilates telling it, and he had a 16-part series on nothing but Bigfoot. It's very good. But I already had known about this, but it goes back into the late 1700s and the early 1800s. There was a war between Sasquatch and the Native Americans,
hmm
Indians, okay? A lot of killed on both sides. Finally, I can't say if it was between an elder of the clans and an elder of one of the nation's people, but they
hmm
decided, hey, it's time for a truce. We're
Right.
killing too many of each other.
We need to
It's
stop.
time for a truce. So they did, yeah.
Hey, you're
And
right. It's
it
funny you
goes
say
on to
that. You
say
know
that
why I laugh? You know
yeah.
why I laugh? Because that's what we need as humans too. We need to do that too.
So there was a truce between them. They lived in harmony, and there's pictures of them showing the Bigfoot is actually a hole in the ground, and there's a native maiden that's throwing seed in. So there was a harmony between them for
Yeah.
quite some time.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it splits up to a certain extent. I think they still probably do have a certain harmony, just like you said.
hmm
The white men come to America. Okay, the white men started the wars with the Indians.
Right.
They killed a lot of Indians. Now, this is in what is now Ohio. Back then, it was Indian territory,
Right.
part of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Michigan was just called the Indian territories.
hmm
So when the French come over and the French and Indian War took place, my grandpa, my great 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 grandpa, Pierre Dugan, lived there. He's from Ireland. Okay. He would not fight against the Indians with the French. He was married to a native maiden
American. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Canada. And the best I could trace
That
back, and
makes
I did a
sense.
lot of research on him, his name was Pierre Dugan. He was from Ireland. He migrated to Canada, and from Canada down through Michigan to Ohio and settled in a small town called Urbana. You can look it up. His name's all over, along with John Walker. But somewhere in Canada, he married an Indian maiden. The best I could tell was possibly from the Blackfeet tribe, or as they call them up there, Blackfeet band.
Mm.
Now, he would not fight. So he went into hiding in what's called now the Dugan's Caverns in Ohio, not too
hmm
far from where I used to live. So, how did the Indians on the West Coast know from the Indians in the Indian Territory in what's now Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois, and Pennsylvania, know that the white men was coming west? And the Bigfoot and the Sabe forest people and the
hmm
Indians out west were forewarned. Look out for them. They're coming. How'd that happen? Through mind speak, through
Yeah.
one going from the east to
To
the
the
west through a
west.
portal?
To let them know.
Yeah, because in the stories,
hmm
the people in the west, the forest people there, and the Indians were forewarned. White men are coming.
Right.
Be careful.
Right.
And what
Right.
happened? White men went from east to west, all the way from, let's say, the Atlantic Ocean, all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And so, and then that's when a lot of the trouble then started from the stories go
Right.
between the white man and the forest people. And that's where the truce was somewhat separated a little bit. And that's
Yeah.
why they don't trust white men. There's some
Right.
of us that they probably do. I may be
Right.
one of them because of the connection I have.
Right.
And I
Right. Yeah.
do believe,
They gotta get to know
yeah,
you first before they can trust you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I believe there's others that no, they don't trust at all. So if I have gained a trust of one or two, that's pretty significant to me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but like I said, I'm not an expert on any of this. This everything I've talked about tonight is from my own encounters
Right.
with them, what I have seen, witnessed,
Right. Hmm.
and being able to relate to others and saying, "Wow, yeah, I had that happen to me too." It's so I'm not the only one that's had this,
Right. Right.
this happen.
Hmm.
So that takes and makes me think, well, I'm not crazy after all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
right. That's right. Yeah.
it's like I said, I didn't talk about any of this up until 2018 from the 1994. Um, I talked to
Hmm.
my chief of police about a month and a half ago about a good brother of mine. He's failing in health. He's got diabetes real bad. He lost part of his leg. And then he also found stage 1 liver cancer. He was my partner for 15 years. And I'm losing him, and it hurts.
Yeah. Of
Another one of
course.
my partners took his life last
Yeah.
spring. He was my partner for 14 years.
Right.
So Jerry called me telling me about Larry and what was going on. And I asked him, I said, I got a story I want to ask you about 1987. I said, this
Hmm.
goes along with Kyle Krager. I said, Kyle come to you one night at the dance at the high school and said they found 5 dead deer out what is called Hashish Bridge. Hashish Bridge is where all these dopers would go out, drink their beer, drink their whiskey, and smoke their dope. It's probably, again, 3 miles out of town and only about 1,000 yards to less than a quarter mile away from where my incident took place. Well, Kyle and his friend went out there. They're on their mopeds. They're 15, 16 years old. They see all these dead deer at the one side of the ditch by this bridge. His one friend says, oh, let's go down and see what's going on. Kyle says, no way. And so this friend goes down. And he no sooner steps off the embankment onto the field, they start hearing a low growl coming out from underneath the bridge. Okay.
Ooh.
Scares the crap out of both of them. They jump on their moped. They go back to town. They go to the dance that night. And that's when they talk to Jerry. Jerry was chief of police at that time. He hired me back in 1984. So I said, Jerry, I said, Kyle told me about this incident you supposedly went out and looked at. What did you see that next day when you went out there on these dead deer? He said, oh, no, I don't know. Oh, come on, what, Jerry? I know you better than that. You went out. Kyle told me you told him just to stay away from it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I said, I seen him, Claude. He said, all the eyeballs were gone. He said, I thought it was a ritual killing. I laughed at Jerry. I said, no. I said, to me, with the eyeballs being gone, that's probably like a chocolate covered cherry to a Bigfoot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably a tasty morsel.
Yeah. Or a strawberry, chocolate covered
Okay.
strawberry.
Now, the
Mhm.
same gentleman, Kyle Krager, that's seen this was the ones that you saw with the sandhill cranes and the circled Bigfoot. Okay. That's Kyle. Now, him and I didn't talk about any of this between us. Him having his first encounter before me in probably 97 and mine, no, his in 87, I'm sorry, and mine in 94. And we were cops and brothers together. We didn't talk about it. And then last year, we're talking to another brother, Chuck, up in Michigan. He also heard my one podcast with Steve Isidol. He told Chuck, he says, I got to get a hold of Claude. I got to talk to him.
Mhm.
He's all excited. We talked for about an hour, and that's when he told me about his encounters there at the bridge. And he said, he can't be more than 1,000 yards from where you had yours. I said, I know. But again, encounters, that brings to light to everything I know about Sabe, the forest people, the protectors of the forest.
Right.
And where they come from, I don't think anybody knows 100% for sure. There might
No,
be some.
no. I
Do
think the
we know?
Native Americans are the ones that have the most knowledge on where they come from, where they go. You know what I mean? All that. I
Yeah,
think the Native Americans are the ones that
yeah,
really, really, and that's why they don't like to speak about it because they don't want
yeah.
to get that information out there. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think not only are the protectors of the forest,
Hmm.
but would you not think that they're protectors of the forest people as well?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Yep.
That they don't tell all what they do know because they don't want people going out
They're,
looking for them.
yeah, they don't want to jeopardize these beings.
Right. They're
So
trying to keep
a lot of people call them creatures. I don't like to call Sasquatch creatures. I like to call them beings. You know,
beings, forest people.
forest people. Just like aliens. Those are beings. They're not
Yeah.
creatures. They're beings.
They
Um.
are a living, breathing, breeding
Hmm.
family unit. They
Hmm.
are.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that anymore. And to me, uh, they probably have more knowledge of our world and what the future may hold for us. It's been said that if they start showing themselves to people more and more,
Hmm.
that something tragic is going to happen in our world, whether it's going to be in our lifetime of maybe our grandkids or our great grandkids, but they're going to be there to help us. How? Are they going to portal us to another dimension that's
Right.
safe?
Right.
But this is something that I've heard a couple times of now. One was from the owl person that writes into Steve. He said the more and more that people start seeing these forest people, the beings, then something tragic is going to happen, and they will be there to
Right.
help us.
Right.
This is all
Okay. Yeah,
something
that
that,
makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense. Being the protectors. Yeah.
yeah, and it's
Hmm.
also something that when Sheldon Quinn has done his podcast with us, he
Hmm.
said, "That's funny, Claude. The elders up here say the same thing. That if they start being seen more and more by people,
Right.
that something is going to happen. But there's no time frame in it that's being talked about.
Hmm.
So is that time frame now? 100 years from now? There's no time frame talked about. It's just that they're going to be there to help us, help the
Right.
human population.
Right,
Now,
exactly. I think that's
so
what they're here for, to protect us, and that's why they don't show themselves as much, because they don't want people, messing with them, basically,
right,
right?
right.
But hey, Claude, we're coming up on my hour mark that I don't like to go too long in on my shows, more than 2 hours, and it's 2:22 right now, so it's
Oh
you
my.
know, yeah, because the thing is, I don't like to make them too long because then the people start getting, tired or bored or whatever, and then
Yeah.
they just start kind of like they're not even listening anymore. You know what I mean? If they came in from the beginning, now there are people that come in the middle and just listen to the rest of the show, but the people that have been here since the beginning, then it's a little much for them. But yeah, I just want to ask you: do you have any like closing comments that you would like to tell the people about these things that you've witnessed? These creatures or beings uh, that you've witnessed and what you know about them.
Well, I appreciate very much you having me on. This
Absolutely.
is the first podcast I've done now, about 3 months. I think my last one was July, and
Oh,
that was
okay.
the last one with Blake. And I explained the story about the
Right.
incident out at the Squatch camp.
Right.
Now, I've enjoyed being here with you tonight, and for those who are
Likewise,
listening,
brother. Hmm.
uh, thank you for listening. I hope
Yeah.
you have your own encounters that maybe you will share with Carlito here, and I can listen to your stories because I do like listening to other people's stories.
Oh
Because
yeah.
to me, Carlito, that only goes to prove what you have seen, what you've witnessed, and ratifies what you know.
Right.
So,
Right. Exactly. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for those words, Claude. I appreciate that, and likewise, I appreciate you coming on too. And I know it
you're
took
very
you
welcome. You're very
I know
welcome.
it took us a while, but we finally made it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, because I just recently got away from too much work, and started contacting you and others as well. So yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for all your pictures. They were great. I think those pictures were excellent, man. Really,
Thank
and
you.
I think the people in the chat and viewing this uh, show also think that they're
Pictures
great.
speak a
Yeah.
thousand words.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Pictures don't
Absolutely.
lie.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't care about those things. They just want a good story and fear factor, and that's it. But no, here we like to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm one of the few podcasts that bring up pictures and some videos and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say I'm the only one, but I'm one of the few ones that do. Uh, so I hope everybody tonight, liked our show tonight, or with me and Claude. Um, Thank you everybody for coming out tonight, and
You're, you're welcome.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Claude, for everything you took part in, and telling us all the great encounters and stories you've had throughout the years, and. And all right, I guess we'll talk later on, Claude, me and you, if you want to
Okay.
come back to do a part two, maybe we'll talk
We can
about
do.
that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
One word, if I can get in there, please. If you'd
yeah,
like,
sure,
you can put up
sure.
on your screen. If anybody would like to contact me, you can contact me at Dwayne C. Anderson on Facebook. Now I go by Claude. Claude Anderson is my name, but I go by
Right.
Dwayne C. because I'm too far right. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'd do a part two. I'd love to do a roundtable. Maybe get in some.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
But this has been great tonight. I thank you again for asking me to have you be on your show. It's good to hear you back and being able to do them. I mean, I've watched several of
Yeah.
your other podcasts, and uh, and I know you're a true believer, and you're the one that, like me, you like to see the people come out and show their encounter or share their encounters
Yeah.
and talk about their experiences.
Yeah. And I
So,
don't. That's another thing I wanted to tell everybody. I don't bring just anybody on, to my show. It
yeah,
has to be something. There's somebody that would, that I consider to be a good, interesting, story or encounter. I'm not just going to get just any random person just to fill in every week like other shows do. That
right.
they have somebody every week, and I've seen them. And some are good shows, and some are pretty crappy shows. To tell you the truth, man, and
You
they
can
just
tell.
do it just to
Yeah,
fill in every weekly, video or whatever. I don't do that.
you can tell the ones who had the true experiences and the ones
Right,
that are
right.
just out there to. And the bad part of it is too, on every page on Facebook, all of there's quite a few of them that are here in Arizona. You
Hmm.
have the naysayers, the ones you put in
Yeah.
your opinion on it, and then they go out there and they just try to rip it.
Oh
So
yeah.
I no longer put my opinions on them.
Hmm.
I will like, and say, I like it because I think it's a good comment. But
Hmm.
you can pretty much weed out the ones who are just
Yeah.
there to make problems, and the ones who
Yeah.
are true believers
Right.
have had their own experiences and encounters.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Hmm.
but again, thanks. I've got some ideas I'll get with you later on. A
Yeah.
roundtable discussion I'd really like to do. I've
Yeah.
got a couple guys I think you'd like if you enjoyed. Todd and Brian from Cryptid Creatures, and maybe
Hmm.
we can get Sheldon to come on.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely,
Sheldon's
man.
thinking about doing another, um, what
Sounds
is
like a
a
plan. Hmm.
convention. He did a convention up there in Merritt, and it was very successful. And he's asked me to come up and basically do what I did tonight, be a host, a live host.
Hmm.
So I told him what I did. I said I'll make uh, what do I say, a presentation of it, a
Hmm.
PowerPoint presentation. So
Right.
again, thank you, Carlito.
Yes.
God bless
Absolutely.
you. Keep
Uh,
up the good work. Have a
Thank you.
fantastic Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
fantastic.
You too, Claude. And and happy belated Thanksgiving.
You're
And
welcome.
happy New Christmas and New Year as well. If
Happy
I
New
don't
Year.
see you
Yeah.
till the next show, okay? And that goes for everybody in the comments, guys, in the chat. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody, because I know we didn't see each other or talk to each other. Not do enough shows to 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 say happy Thanksgiving this week, everybody. I don't, so I had to wait till like today to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. And if I don't see you, I'm pretty sure I will. But if I don't see you in Christmas, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you, Abe Sears from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, brother. Thank you for hanging on to the end. Thank you very much for that. Let me know when you're gonna go live, Abe, because I want to be there on your next live, please, bro. Thank you, and thank you to everybody that showed up tonight, and
Thanks, everybody.
thank you for everybody that's gonna go still watch this live show after it's done and over. Thank you for anybody that's gonna come still watch this show. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all the good things that every channel says. I'm actually eight. I'm actually just eight subscribers away from my first 1,000 subscribers, and I'm really trying to get it. But man, it's seems like it's the most difficult 10 subscribers I've seen in a long time. Like it's like they don't want me to get to 1,000. Man, it's crazy. I don't know. I posted it the other day on my group on Facebook. I posted everyone in the group, which I have like close to 3,000 people in the group. I only got like one subscriber after that. That's crazy, man. But like I
I got to
said,
resubscribe. I will do that.
yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I don't care. I know they're looking for the fear factor, and they don't think this is, worthy enough to be a subscription or whatever. Then that's on them. I don't care. I want the people that do want to come and subscribe and do enjoy the shows to do that. To do just that. To subscribe, because yeah, we have very interesting shows on here, guys. Not because it's me, but we do. And yeah, I don't know when my next show is gonna be, but it's not gonna be more than 2 weeks. Like, not like this weekend I could. Next weekend I might not be able to, but the weekend after that, that's for sure. So it's like every 2 weeks is when I usually do my shows. Uh, you know, throughout the year. So if it's not next week, guys, the following week for sure, I'll have a show. I'm already talking to people, and I'm trying to get them to book the show for whatever dates they can, or
Anything I
sooner
can do to help
sooner.
you, brother?
Uh, thank you, appreciate that, Cloud. Thank you, man,
Anything I can do
appreciate
to
that.
help you?
Yes, absolutely, bro. We'll talk later, Cloud. Claude, we'll talk later, and and talk more about that. But yeah, thank you everybody for being here tonight, man. Um, I think it was a great show. Claude was a great guest, and like I said,
Thank you.
he's a great
Thank you.
guy. You know, like I said from the beginning, and okay. Well, with that being said, guys, we'll see you on the next show. Stay tuned for the next show and subscribe. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell so you can get a notification for the next show. Okay. All right. That being said, thank you guys. Carlito Castro checking out. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you, Claude.